Welcome to the Bluegrass State. The beautiful rolling hills of Kentucky is horse country, and the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series brings over 26,000 horses to this mile-and-a-half speedway.
Here they come to the line. Crawford gets a good jump. And on the front, powering down to the inside.
He's got to take the bridle off, so to speak, and let it go right now.
The gearbox.
Here comes Bobby Hamilton.
Side by side race for the second spot.
Welcome to race 13 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. The sun begins to set on Sparta, Kentucky, and we'll be under the lights in Kentucky. Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series pre-race show is presented by Craftsman. Beautiful day in Sparta, Kentucky. 84 degrees, partly cloudy. Wonderful day for racing. We take a look at the 4 top 10 point standings. The top 6 remains the same through the first half of the season. 7 changes to Terry Cook. Jack Sprague vacates that spot, and Mike Skinner breaks into the top 10 for the first time this year. Let's head down trackside to take a look back at the 2005 first half with Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. As you said, it is the midpoint of 2005. We've already had 12 races, and we've had 9 different winners. Now, the all-time season record is 14 different winners in one season. I think we certainly could break that in 2005 because the competition in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is better than ever. I'll tell you, we've had a lot of action already this year, and I think we should take a look back at what's happened in the first half. 2004 Series champion Bobby Hamilton set a new series record by winning the Florida Dodge Dealers 250 at Daytona after starting the race in 36th position. Finishes of first, second, and third in the first 3 races kept the 04 truck at the top of the points for the first 4 events. Steve Park drove his Orleans Racing Dodge to the winner's circle at California. Bobby Labonte had the very best truck at Martinsville, and Kyle Busch made it back-to-back wins for Billy Baloo Motorsports at Lowe's and Dover. Each of these 3 drivers grabbed their first career victories. Roush Racing and Ultra Motorsports are deadlocked in a tie with each team claiming 36 wins. However, Ted Musgrave's dominant performance at Gateway in St. Louis remains the only win for either team. Ron Hornaday returned to truck racing and increased his all-time victory total to 27 at Atlanta. Many believe the Goodwrench Chevy should have 4 wins by now, but multiple pit road problems have plagued the number 6 team. The California native is currently 4th in points, just 134 markers off the lead. Chevrolet won 5 races in a row, including Kyle Busch's pair, Jack Sprague's win number 25 in front of a huge crowd at Texas, and Dennis Setzer's back-to-back victories at Michigan and Milwaukee. Todd Bodine recently reunited with Jermaine Arnold Racing, and last week at Kansas, Toyota finally found the magic as the number 30 truck captured the checkers. So far, 4 drivers have yet to win a race in 2005. Ricky Craven and Terry Cook are still in the championship hunt. The Power Stroke Diesel team has posted 5 top 10s in the last 6 races, but it has been 70 races since TC last won at Indy in 2002. Craven, on the other hand, has gone the last 4 events without a top 10, and that prompted Jack Roush to make a crew chief swap between the number 99 and the 50. Craven and Todd Cleaver lead a strong list of drivers who have yet to win in the Craftsman Truck Series, and I believe the second half of the year we'll see more first-time winners. After all, the talent pool in the Truck Series in 2005 is stronger than ever. All right, now here's where everybody on the Truck Series team gets to make fun of old Ray, because back in Daytona we had to pick who we thought would be the champion. And who did I pick? Well, Johnny Benson. but the problem is he's 383 points out of the lead right now, so I don't think he's going to win the championship. So I'm the first guy to get eliminated in our championship pick. But one other guy that I think's been a pretty big disappointment so far this year is Rick Crawford. He's got an average finish of 16.5, and this time a year ago, Crawford was 4th in the points. Right now, he's 13th. And we'll have a little bit more on the Rick Crawford story in the next segment. But right now, let's find out about 2005 at the midpoint with Wendy.
Thanks, Ray. Too bad we don't put money on our picks, because in Daytona, I picked Ron Hornaday, and he sits 4th in the points right now. Now, I told you that night in Daytona, points were detrimental any race starting right there at Daytona. Unfortunately, Ron Hornaday left Daytona Speedway with a DNF, and it put him in the hole. But 2 races later in Atlanta, he went on to win, and he's remained in the top 6 of points ever since that race. Ron Hornaday and the Goodwrench Chevy team have definitely positioned themselves to be a championship contender team. I'm sticking with my pick of Ron.
Well, Wendy had a pretty good pick with Ron Hornaday. Hello, everyone. I'm Rick Allen alongside of Phil Parsons. As we look back on that first half of the season, Phil, what do you think has been the biggest disappointment?
Well, Rick, as Ray mentioned a few moments ago, Johnny Benson was his pick for the champion. Johnny last year drove about a half a season. He had 8 top 10 finishes and 13 starts. So I had him picked for certainly a top 5 contender. Well, he's only had 3 top 10 finishes so far this year in the 12 starts we've had. For them to get even close to the top 5, they're going to really have to get their act together. I really thought that they were going to be a contender.
On the other end of that, what would be your biggest surprise?
Well, there's no surprise up front. We've got Dennis Setzer, our point leader, knows how to contend for a championship, has for a number of years. Bobby Hamilton is in 2nd right now. He's our defending champion, and we know he knows how to win a championship. And Ted Musgrave is 3rd, and he's been in the top 3 all 4 seasons in the Truck Series, so no surprise up front.
Well, let's take a look at our picks so far in the 2005 season. As we mentioned, Ray with the pick of Johnny Benson, currently 15th in the points. Wendy has Hornaday, and she's 4th in the points. Now, Phil, you picked Musgrave at the beginning of the season. He's 3rd. And Michael Waltrip picked Dennis Setzer at the beginning of the season when he was with us at Daytona, currently 1st in the points. We'll see if Michael is able to hold on and win the championship as far as the picks from the booth. And the drivers continue to get ready. We will continue to tell you about the Rick Crawford story. That is the big story of the day. We'll tell you more about that next. Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series pre-race show is brought to you by Craftsman, celebrating 10 years tough of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Welcome back to the Kentucky Speedway for the Built Ford Tough 225 on Speed Channel. Rick Crawford's fast fact, 210 consecutive starts, and that will end tonight. And the reason being is in qualifying earlier, Rick Crawford had a problem in his first lap.
See, Ricky wiggles right there and loses control, stays out of the outside wall, but unfortunately, his truck's going to make some hard contact with the inside wall. What a horrible break. Rick had the 4th fastest truck in practice prior to qualifying. You see him wiggle a little bit, then he loses control. Again, he tries to keep it out of the outside wall, which he does, but the truck doesn't turn on around and spin. It just heads straight towards the inside wall, makes hard contact.
And just to clarify, Rick Crawford has been taken out of the truck. He was taken to the infield care center. He was checked out. They decided they wanted to do some more checking on him, and so they sent him to St. Elizabeth Hospital, which was about 20 minutes away. They did that at about 7 o'clock, and so there was just not enough time for Rick Crawford to get back here, get into that truck, and be able to race. And so they are going to put a different driver into that truck, and that driver actually was going to be a part of our broadcast team, and he was stolen away from us. Ray, I think you've caught up with him.
Well, I have, and he is climbing into the Circle Bar Ford right now. That would be Boris Said. Now, I want to tell you something. I know you had an awful daunting challenge to work in the booth tonight, but what about driving a truck that you haven't even been in?
I mean, it's amazing because a half hour ago I was in the booth getting ready to go, and, you know, this is an unfortunate circumstance for Rick Crawford. He's a great guy, and hopefully he'll be all right, but I love the chance to get to drive this truck. I've never been around this track, and I haven't driven a truck in a long time, so I'm looking for a slow start, but, you know, hopefully we'll this whole Circle Bar team will give me a good truck, and I'll figure it out, and hopefully we'll get near the front, near the end.
Okay, good luck to you. He will start in the very back, and now we want to hear from a guy who's up front.
Bill Lester has had 3 career poles, and one of them just came last week in Kansas City. Bill, it's been a whirlwind for you. 2 DNFs in a row, but unfortunately, You're going to pick things back up, and you're going to be good here in Kentucky. How good is your truck?
I think it's really good. I mean, we were obviously very good in qualifying. We untaped it, and we were very consistent. I'm hoping to think this, Toyota Tundra Waste Management sponsor is going to be really strong, but we'll find out. I'm happy we got 2 poles in a row. I'm looking for the victory tonight.
All right, good luck to you. Let's go trackside.
Mark Wengler. Pray with me, please. Father God, we thank you for who you are. You have created all things for us, and nothing happens that is out of your control. Lord, thank you for this great facility and for those that care for her. Thank you for this series, its teams, sponsors that make this terrific sport available for us to enjoy. Please keep us safe this evening. Be with our troops and our leaders. Help us to bless others as you have blessed us. In Jesus' name we pray. Shalom and amen.
Singing our national anthem tonight is one of country music's favorites. Most of you saw his concert up on the concourse, Mr. Billy Ray Cyrus, and helping us to honor our country tonight are parachute jumpers from Team Fast Track.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
The Built Ford Tough 225 is coming up as we're at the halfway point. It's 150 points that separate our top 5. We're going down to the line in Homestead.
Because Cain never could, so I always put all my blood and sweat on the line. So I do what I feel, if you don't think I will. Say I won't.
Welcome to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Built Ford Tough 225, presented by the Greater Cincinnati Ford dealers on Speed Channel. Beautiful crowd rolling into the 1.5 mile facility at Sparta, Kentucky for tonight's race. Again, halfway point for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Hello, everyone. Again, Rick Allen alongside of Phil Parsons. A really difficult day for Rick Crawford. Now, Boris Said was supposed to be up in the booth with us to broadcast this show today. How difficult or what was the decision process for Boris to get into that truck, Phil?
Well, Rick, these trucks are tailor-made for the drivers, and Rick is a very, very tall guy. And there aren't that many other drivers here in Kentucky for this weekend. There were not that many trucks here. We just had a truck or two over the allotted 36-truck field. So NASCAR said that we wanted to get the 14 truck said they wanted to get Boris to drive the truck because he, again, very similar size to Rick Crawford. He can fit his seat. He can sit in the truck. Typically on a race weekend, you must practice, at least practice a truck, any truck, in order to be eligible to drive a truck. But NASCAR waived that rule because The accident happened so late during qualifying, there was not an opportunity to practice that truck. And Boris is a longtime NASCAR competitor. He's a current Nextel Cup driver. He's got 46 starts here in the Truck Series. He finished second in a Truck Series race at Texas on a very similar fast mile-and-a-half racetrack. So Boris has been around here a long time. NASCAR waived that rule. Wayne Auton, series director, has that discretion that he can say, hey, let's let Boris drive that truck, and hopefully he's going to give it a great ride.
Well, early on in the practices, Rick Crawford looked very good. Another driver that most of the drivers were talking about as the guy to beat is Jack Sprague.
Rick, every single person in the garage area said that 16 truck of Jack Sprague is the truck to beat. IWX has won here before. They won in their championship season with Mike Bliss in 2002. Jack Sprague loves this racetrack. He's been here 3 times before. He's never finished out of the top 3. IWX loves it. Jack Sprague loves it. Good combination. Good truck.
Jack Sprague has found victory lane already this year, and so he's looking to make that 2 for Jack Sprague and that team the 16. And so let's head down now to continue with our pre-race activities for tonight's Command.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the most famous words in racing. Please welcome back Todd Eckert, Ford Truck Marketing Manager. Take it away, Todd.
On behalf of Built Ford Tough Trucks, ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
Engines are fired up. We'll find out which driver is ready to push the limit in Kentucky.
Some say I'm a fool, I don't play by the rules. Well, I push the limit every time. Well, I do what I feel, if you don't think I will. Say I won't.
The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on Speed Channels, brought to you in part by the Ford Family Plan. From the Ford family to the American family, welcome. And by Craftsman, celebrating 10 years tough of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. We look at the Craftsman track description, this 1.5 mile, almost D-shaped track.
Very, very fast. 14-degree banking in the corners. Not a great deal of banking for a track this fast. 8 degrees on the straightaways. You see the backstretch is about 1,600 feet long.
Craftsman race analysis. 36 trucks will again start to make up the field.
150 laps, 225 miles. The second largest purse in the series, $736,000. Pit road, pit window about 55 to 65 laps.
Now let's take a look at the Domino's starting grid. Bill Lester claims his 3rd career pole, and it's 2 in a row for Bill Lester. He likes 1.5 mile tracks.
Todd Cleaver starts on the outside pole. What a roll he's on right now. He had a great second place run in Kansas City last week. Starts on the front row.
Terry Cook with a fine qualifying performance. Ford still looking for that first win. Is Terry Cook the man that can get it for them?
He could do that. He's been on a roll lately. A number of top 10 finishes here lately. You see Brendan Gaughan. He's really getting that team turned around. Tony Liberati, crew chief there. They're getting that program going. They had 2 top 10 finishes in the last 2 races.
Eric Norris piloting the 07 again. Shigeatori on the outside of him.
There's Ricky Craven again, the other half of the Todd Cleaver story. They swapped crew chiefs before the previous race at Kansas City.
Boris Said will be starting in the number 14. That's actually in the 35th starting position. 2 trucks did not make the field, Justin Allgaier and Blake Mallory. We'll be riding along with a few different trucks, one of those being the Spears Manufacturing number 75 of David Starr. He'll start in the 20th position.
Our most recent winner, Todd Bodoni, got Toyota's first win last week at Kansas City, looking for 2 in a row.
Terry Cook will start 9th, and we'll ride along with him in that Power Stroke Diesel by International.
As I mentioned earlier, every person in the garage here says this is the truck to beat. Jack Sprague never been out of the top 3 here at Kentucky.
Up front, by winning tonight's race from the pole position, Bill Lester can win $16,000 for his team. If he doesn't win from the pole tonight, then another $2,000 is again added to the prize money. That purse will continue to grow in increments of $2,000 until someone wins that award. Bill Lester with a great effort again in qualifying. by starting this race tonight, becomes the first African-American in NASCAR to earn over $1 million in winnings.
The thing I love about Bill Lester, I talked to him before qualifying. He said, now how much is that pole bonus? So he knew he had a great truck and he had a shot at it.
Let's go down for final thoughts before the race with Wendy.
Our pole sitter, Bill Lester, is coming off those 2 poles in a row, like you just said, and also his career best finish just happened last week in Kansas of 5th. Doug Wolcott, his crew chief, definitely has the 22 truck dialed in again tonight in Kentucky. Now, Bill Lester has never led a lap at this track, but that could just change in moments as he leads the field tonight. Ray?
Well, Wendy, we've had a lot of mile-and-a-half races already this year. We run on a lot of them. Actually, 47 times in series history we've run on a mile-and-a-half, and 18 times it's been Chevrolet going to victory lane. They lead with the most. But 13 times it's been a Ford, and I think tonight there very well may be a Ford in victory lane, and I think it very could be the number 50 of Todd Cleaver. As Phil talked about earlier, his great race last week gave him the confidence to know that he can get it done. They always say you got to lose one before you win one. I think tonight it might be the night for Todd Cleaver.
We've got some radio communications with Boris and another one of the Ford trucks, the 14 Circle Bar truck, normally obviously driven by Rick Crawford. Let's see what Boris has to say. Hey, Boris, Phil Parsons, can you hear me, buddy?
Phil, how you doing? Sorry I'm not up there with you, but I found something better to do.
You were just up here an hour ago getting ready to do this deal. How's everything in the truck fit? You seem fit okay? Everything fit okay for you?
Yeah, but it fits a little tight in the cross, but other than that, everything fits fine.
By the way, Boris, you're not going to get paid to doing TV this week, so you better make some money on the racetrack.
I know, I hope so. I haven't been in a truck in a long time, and I've never been around here, but it should be a fun night.
All right, Boris, we know you can get it done. We know you had a second-place finish at Texas a few years ago in a Craftsman truck. When you've got 46 starts, you're going to make number 47. Give it a good ride.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
So again, just to update you on this story, if you hadn't heard earlier, Rick Crawford was involved in an accident in qualifying. It was on his first lap. He was not able to get checked out and get back from the hospital in time to start this race. And so Boris Said is now taking over the reins of the number 14. And so Boris Said will be starting in the number 14. This is a look back at the qualifying effort by Rick Crawford.
Rick, you ran just about wide open around this racetrack. A lot of the guys that qualified well ran absolutely wide open. Rick was trying to do that. He knew he had a shot at the pole. He was 4th quickest in practice. He wanted to get that pole. He just got a little bit of a wiggle there, got a little bit loose, got out from under him. He kept it out of the outside wall, but the truck would never turn completely around. It just darted off straight towards the inside wall. Unfortunately, hit it extremely hard. There's a lot of damage to that truck. I looked at it right before they came up here to the booth, and there was a considerable amount of damage. Great to see Rick get out of there. NASCAR just didn't want to take any chances. They wanted to send him to a local hospital for further evaluation, and I'm sure everything's going to be okay for Rick. But unfortunately, his streak of 210 consecutive starts ends tonight.
That started back in 1997 at Disney World, where he started his streak and has 3 wins in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. The next longest streak that is active right now is now Terry Cook. And by starting tonight's race, he'll have 185 consecutive races. So we would expect Terry Cook to probably break Rick Crawford's record of consecutive starts. As far as it won't happen this year, but possibly next year. We'll be riding along with Terry Cook in that Power Stroke Diesel by International. And we've seen Terry Cook make some leaps and bounds as far as finishes this year.
The last 6 races, he's had 5 top 10 finishes. After really struggling early on, he had a couple top 10s in the first 6 races, but he came with a great second-place run at Charlotte, backed it up with a 3rd at Dover. They've got the exact same truck here that they had those 2 great finishes, the top 3 finishes at Charlotte and Dover. Look for Terry Cook to have another great one tonight.
Kentucky Speedway really can dictate a season. The odd-yeared winners at this track, we look right now at the starting positions as far as where they've won from. No one has won this race outside of the top 5 in starting positions. And we'll take a look now at the odd years winners of this race have not won the championship, meaning Scott Riggs and Carl Edwards are the only 2 racers who have not gone on to win the championship after winning at Kentucky. But Biffle, Bliss, and Hamilton winning in the even number years did. So you might not want to win this race if you want to win the championship.
Every driver in this field wants to win this race, and they're going to break that spell. This is going to be the first time that the winner wins a championship in this same odd numbered year.
Bill Lester and Todd Cleaver lead the field to the green flag. We're underway with a Built Ford Tough 225. Great start for Bill Lester. Todd Cleaver looks like he had some problems on that start. This could be the time that Bill Lester leads the first lap. A week ago in Kansas, he was not able to hold off Mike Skinner. Skinner led the first lap, and Bill Lester never was out front of that race. And now he's out in front of the pack going down the backstretch.
Pretty ragged start there. We typically have some great side-by-side action, but as you mentioned, Todd Cleaver had a bit of a struggle on the start and really jumbled up the field. They were 3-4 wide right after they got by the start-finish line.
And how about the $1 million in earnings for Bill Lester by starting this race?
Yeah, he's done a great job, and he's really coming to his own right now. He had his career best finish last week at Kansas City with a great top 5 run. He had Ted Musgrave looked like he got very, very loose there, slid up the racetrack.
3 wide in front and 3 wide battling for 10th right now. And it looks as though Mike Skinner's going to jump out front. Look at Ron Hornaday working on the inside of the 22 of Bill Lester and the 17 of David Rudiman.
Looked like Ron Hornaday lost the front end. The front end wouldn't turn quite enough to get a slide at the racetrack. That allowed David Rudiman, the 17 truck, to score it out ahead. Now Ron Hornaday is side by side with Bill Lester.
2 laps into it, we've already gone 3 wide.
Look at Terry Cook. He's just going to make it 3 wide on the outside of Jack Sprague. Again, everyone in the garage here said the best truck here is Jack Sprague. He was consistently fast each and every practice session. Extremely good. A little bit of big time wiggle right there for Brandon Witt. Terry Cook was able to get by him on the inside.
We again had a new track record in qualifying. Bill Lester set that in just over 30 seconds. He beat the old track record by almost 10 miles an hour, Phil.
That is incredible. Goodyear has brought softer tires. Again, as a result, mostly of the Nextel Cup Series, they had a reduction in downforce, so they wanted Goodyear to make softer tires. Well, the trucks run the same soft tires as do the Busch cars. The softer tires have really allowed these speeds to jump up incredibly much, and we're seeing a lot of trucks break the track record almost every week.
And you mentioned how tight some of these trucks are with those soft tires. Well, Brandon Witt didn't think they were very tight earlier.
Watch this. They're going down the backstretch when we see Brandon Witt down in the corner. These fellas will start these trucks really, really loose so they don't get too tight as the race wears on. Watch him. He gets down in the corner. You see a little bit of a wiggle and then a big wiggle. He has to chase it up the hill.
That was a great job to catch that truck, not take it into the wall. There, Ted Musgrave's trying to make the pass on the outside. We're seeing multiple lines around this track.
Yeah, we've seen them 3 wide from the time they dropped the green flag. A great outside move by Ted Musgrave. He has a great handling truck. We see Dennis Setzer, the 46 truck on the inside. And there's Johnny Benson, a 23, driving by Dennis Setzer.
Side-by-side racing, momentum on the outside. The preferred line on the inside of the track.
When you've got trucks side by side, we've seen it so many times. The truck on the inside loses some air off the spoiler. The outside, if it's got a lot of grip, it's a great place to try to make some passes.
One of the faster trucks in practice today was the 16 of Jack Sprague. He's on the inside of Terry Cook right now.
Terry Cook has a great truck. I talked to his crew chief, Rick Gay, right before the race. I said, this is the same truck you had at Charlotte and Dover. He said, are we going to see the same results? He said, we've got a great shot at it.
That's the race for 5th right now. Terry Cook, Jack Sprague side by side for 5th place.
See, Jack have to back off there. He's got to be very, very careful when he's on the inside of another truck that he doesn't lose any air of the spoiler. Too early in this race to take a chance on something happening.
Todd Bodine just behind them in the Allman Brothers, number 30. Jimmy Spencer with a pretty good run right behind Todd Bodine in 8th position. Starting on the outside of the pole was the 50 of Todd Cleaver. He dropped back on that start. He's in 4th currently. He let Ron Hornaday get by him as well as David Rudiman.
Terry Cook just drove that truck in the corner down last time. Turn number 1 got ahead of Jack Sprague. Jack said, hey, let me follow him for a while. I'll pick my spots. Jack has been really, really good off of turn 4. He's been able to keep a very low line off of turn 4. When the other drivers use a lot of the racetrack, he's able to stay right at the bottom. He will be able to pass a lot of trucks there. Rick, we've got side-by-side 3 wide racing all over the racetrack.
Well, and I'm seeing long shadows too, Phil. Is that making a big difference? The front stretch is completely shaded, whereas the back stretch still has sun on it.
Yeah, when the sun's on the racetrack, we see probably temperatures of 125 or 130 degrees track temperature. When it gets cloudy, then obviously the track temperature is going to come down closer to ambient temperature. So now the racetrack in the shaded part probably isn't much more than 100 degrees. That's just going to give these trucks a lot more grip. And there's some different schools of thought down there in the garage here. Some people think it's going to make them tighter. Some people think it's going to make them looser. And some people think it's just going to make them faster.
Bill Lester started on the pole. He's dropped all the way back to 13th. Mike Skinner has taken over the top spot. Bill Lester continues to drop back as side-by-side racing continues. The 77 of Brendan Gaughan in the hunt right now. It's Mike Skinner and David Ruderman out in front. 2 Toyotas lead this pack around Kentucky Speedway.
On speed.
Hosts an all-new NASCAR Nation Monday through Thursday. Life in the fast lane, living in the limelight. Leanne can bring you never-before-seen side of NASCAR's #1 motorsport. And that's NASCAR Nation with Leanne Tweeden, 7 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on Speed Channel. Nothing's changed since we went away. Mike Skinner still out in front of David Ruderman. And we're seeing some sparks still in the front of these trucks as far as coming off of the trucks. Now, we saw sparks earlier from the number 14 truck, but that was in a bad way when Rick Crawford was trying to qualify. It's Boris Said that is now piloting the 14.
That's right. This is a backup truck. This truck did not have 1 lap of practice on this racetrack. Boris is trying to feel it out right now. He's going to talk to Cowboy Starlin, try to see what kind of changes that he needs to make on this truck. I'm sure Cowboy put the exact same setup in it that he had in his primary truck, but no 2 trucks are exactly the same. Boris right now is just trying to feel it out, trying to stay on the lead lap, hopefully, and catch a caution flag to work on this truck.
Boris's fastest lap so far has been 32.533 seconds. Now, that's off the pace of what obviously the rest of the field is running, but we've got to expect that because he had never been in this truck on this track prior to the start of the race.
It's incredible what Boris is really asked to do to try to jump in this truck. He's never been here before. To try to run this. There's Rick Crawford right there. Great to see him back at the racetrack, and he looks none the worse for wear. I'm sure he would love to be in that 14 truck, wouldn't he, Ray?
Hey guys, I just can't imagine how much work got done down here. Realize there was no engine in that backup truck when they pulled it off the trailer, and they had less than 1 hour. They had to put an engine in there, change trailing arms, an awful lot of work went on. And what was really neat to watch was a lot of the guys from Roush Racing came over to give a hand to the Circle Bar guys. A real tight-knit group down here, a whole bunch of different guys working on that truck so that they could get it onto the racetrack for Boris Said. And as you saw, Rick Crawford is on the pit box down here. He said he's feeling just fine, but I know there's a lot of emotional pain for him by not being in the cockpit of that Circle Bar Ford.
Ray, as we see right now, Mike Skinner is going by Boris Said on the outside, putting him a lap down. I saw the exact same thing you did with these guys getting this truck ready. You saw the Circle Bar guys, you saw a bunch of Roush guys, I saw a bunch of Terry Cook's Power Diesel guys down there. All the Ford camp jumped in here to help Cowboy and the Circle Bar team get that 14 truck back on the racetrack.
So Mike Skinner and David Ruderman beginning to put trucks a lap down. Kelly Sutton's the next on the list to go a lap down as she currently sits in 34th position. We'll be back with more from Kentucky. Welcome back to the built Ford Tough 225 on Speed Channel from Kentucky Speedway. Mike Skinner holding on to the top spot, put a little distance between himself and the 17 of David Ruderman. Reeling him in, though, is Jack Sprague now, Bill.
Jack Sprague consistently the fastest truck on the racetrack. We went for a while in the top 6 trucks, just trading around the fastest lap each time. Jack Sprague right now, it seems to be the fastest truck each and every lap. He ran about 0.3 of a second faster that time than our leader Mike Skinner did. Here we got a good look at Jack Sprague right there. He's going to move by the 31 truck of Nicholas Tucker. This is where he's been so good. He's been able to keep his truck low coming off turn 4, get under a lot of people right, just like he did right there, and pass them. How's the 16 truck doing from your end, Ray?
Doing great, Phil, and I just wanted to update the fact that he is driving chassis number 35 here this this weekend, and this team has really had a lot of luck with this truck. In 2004, they ran it at California, finished 3rd. Then they took it to Texas, finished 5th, and at Homestead, finished 7th. So 3 races in a row with 7th or better finishes in chassis number 35.
Phil, how often is it that they'll run multiple vehicles? Like in the Cup Series, do they run the same car week in and week out?
Well, we know Terry Cook loves the truck he's racing right now. He raced in almost every race since he brought it out in Charlotte. It was brand new at Charlotte. I think he raced it every time but one. When you got a side-by-side battle. Look at David Reutimann.
2 Toyotas battling for the top spot. David Reutimann on the inside tries to take it away from Mike Skinner. Again, the preferred line on the bottom, but the momentum will be on the top. Now, David Reutimann needs to be cautious of losing the air on that spoiler being on the inside.
Got the 4, Timothy Peters. He's going to block the 17 probably. David Reutimann said, hey, it's very, very early in this race. No sense taking any chances. I know I've got a great pit crew. He's going to try to get by Timothy Peters on the inside. He's got a great team. You got to be a little bit careful when you're on the inside like that because even though it may be the preferred line, you lose so much air off the spoiler, you don't want to take any chances, especially this early. Here's Jack Sprague. We talked the entire race how everybody in the garage here said he was so good. Here's a battle right there. He takes over the 5th position from the 50th Todd Cleaver. Watch him make his move on the outside. He's been so good this end of the racetrack on the bottom. Todd Cleaver stayed on the bottom. Jack said, well, I'll just do it on the outside. That's a position right there. Now you saw a glimpse of the 6th truck of Ron Hornaday. That's him right there going top of your screen. He's going to go up there and get him too. He does make that pass. He moves up into the 3rd position and again consistently the fastest truck on the racetrack.
A matter of time before Jack Sprague is able to reel in David Reutimann and Mike Skinner, but Skinner and Reutimann are dealing with lap traffic now as well.
Rick, that's Bill Lester, our pole sitter, that just went 1 lap down to Jack Sprague. So a couple laps ago, he went a lap down to Mike Skinner. His truck, although it may have been great for qualifying, obviously does not have a great race setup right now. They've got a lot of work to do to that truck.
There's a battle for 4th and 5th. Terry Cook just in front of the 30 of Todd Bodine. Again, Todd Bodine is in the 30 now. There was a change 2 races ago where Todd Bodine took over for Chad Chaffin.
Got Allman Brothers band on the hood. We talked to Mike Hellman, crew chief, before the race. He said, we just had some magic. It's not often that you get a driver and a crew chief that really work together and think along the same lines. Todd and I do that. When we had a chance to get him, he said, we've got to do it. And look, in 2 races, they win the race. Wendy, how about the 30 truck?
They are definitely on a roll lately. I talked to Mike Hillman Jr., his crew chief, and he said they pretty much brought the same setup that they had last week in Kansas when they won. So the 30 team and Toyota all pumped up now that they have their first victory of 2005. Things are a little bit more smoother with the manufacturer, and the 30 team has been on a roll.
Right along with Terry Cook in that Power Stroke Diesel by International. He's currently in the 4th position. Now Ford is not as happy right now as Toyota or Chevy or Dodge because Ford has not found victory lane.
12 races in the season. This is our 13th race. Not one single Ford victory, which is very, very rare. Ford has been so good in this series, and unfortunately not yet in 2005 with a victory.
Highest scored Ford currently is Terry Cook in 4th. It's Mike Skinner out in front of David Reutimann and Jack Sprague. Jack Sprague just a 2.5 seconds behind our leader. Tuesday nights on Speed Channel, Texas Hardtails. Take a look into the life and twisted times of renowned bike builder Rick Fairless and his custom bike shop, Strokers Dallas. A real-life bike shop and beer joint unlike any other. Texas Hardtails, mostly true, totally unreal. Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on Speed Channel. And yes, that is Jack Sprague in front of David Reutimann and Mike Skinner. David Reutimann got in front of Mike Skinner, but it did not take long, Phil, for Jack to get out.
Jack is consistently the fastest truck on the racetrack. David Reutimann was finally able to get by Mike Skinner, and it didn't seem like he led for 100 yards, and here comes Jack Sprague.
Went away at break. I had mentioned Jack Sprague was just a 1.5 seconds behind Mike Skinner. Well, David Reutimann took away the top spot from Skinner, and then Jack Sprague made easy pickings out of David Reutimann to take over the top spot. But now it looks as though Reutimann is comfortable sitting right in 2nd, following very close to Jack Sprague.
Yeah, Jack is really running a higher line, especially through 3 and 4. You see him, he's not even close down on the bottom of the racetrack. David Reutimann right on the bottom, but Jack is able to make that outside line work. David Rudiman had the lead here momentarily. Let's see if we can take a look back and see how he got by. You see he made the inside line work coming off turn number 4 on the 5 truck of Mike Skinner. He's going to beat him to the start and finish line, lead this lap. You see Jack Sprague coming to your view right here. Watch him go on the outside. That's right now. That's live right now. You see Jack Sprague on the outside. But right as we came back from commercial break, Jack Sprague was able to get by the 17 truck, and here it is right here. Watch him on the outside again. Makes this outside pass work. Coming off turn number 4, David Rudiman passed Mike Skinner on the inside to take the lead. Jack Sprague passed David Rudiman on the outside to take the lead.
4 different trucks have been out in front. Mike Skinner led the first 33 laps. Actually, Bill Lester led the first lap. Skinner led 33 laps. Then Rudiman got up for 1. And now Jack Sprague has put 5 laps.
Our pole sitter, Bill Lester, on pit road. This is very, very early. His truck may have been so bad he had dropped back to about the 30th position. He may have decided that I cannot hold on to this truck anymore. You're going to have to make some changes and tighten me up or get this truck where I can drive it. Ray?
Yeah, Bill Lester said he had a real bad vibration. He felt like maybe the right front tire may be going down. So they said, let's pit, let's not crash this thing. So they go to work on the right side, and now they decided to go ahead and do 4 tires just to make sure in case it wasn't the right front. But he said it felt like a real bad vibration. That's why they pitted here at 41.
Bill Lester with some time on that right rear. Getting back out onto the track, it's Jack Sprague out in front of David Rudiman. Green flag pit stops will be coming up when we come back. When we went to commercial break, Jack Sprague was out in front. He hits the wall coming out of turn number 2, and now you see the damage as we're under our first caution of the night. Jack Sprague making it down pit road, and he will have some severe damage to the side of that number 16 Chevrolet.
What a horrible break for Jack Sprague. Undoubtedly, he must have cut down a right front tire. His truck has been so good this entire race. Let's see if we can take a look. You see if the truck just take off and go to the right. A slow leak in the right front, or it ran over something, cut it down. Unbelievable. What a horrible break for Jack Sprague. Here's another view of it. He makes some pretty hard contact with the outside wall. It didn't look like it went down all at once. Let's see if we can ride with him and see if we can hear maybe the tire go down. You can hear all the noise. The truck obviously dropped down on the right front because the tire went flat. He made some pretty hard contact with the outside wall. Now we've got leaders on pit road, Wendy.
A quick change of events as Jack Sprague has trouble. The 17 and the 5 are both concerned about that tire that came off of Jack Sprague's truck. Our leader, David Rudiman, is in for 4 tires, an air pressure and a track bar adjustment. He has been free the whole entire race. Mike Skinner also in for 4 tires. He has been also very loose for Mike Skinner, and they're going to go 1 turn down on the track bar. Ray?
1 turn on the track bar also for Terry Cook to try to loosen up his Power Stroke Diesel 4. The guys go to work here. Left side tires are going on. Just a little bit of a hang up in the left rear, but no big problems for Terry Cook.
Got a great battle off pit road. You see Mike Skinner looks like he's going to be the first truck off pit road. That looks like Dennis Setzer right behind him, and then David Rudiman, Terry Cook. Here comes Steve Park, who had worked his way into the top 10 before Jack Sprague had his problem.
And officially leading that last lap was Terry Cook. Terry Cook went across the start-finish line because David Rudiman and Mike Skinner both pitted on the other side of the start-finish line, and so they didn't go across it. And so Terry Cook he gets the benefit of crossing the start-finish line and leading a lap. And that is the 16 of Jack Sprague. Again, cutting a tire or a tire going down. He gets into the wall. He was leading this race, and now he's behind the wall. Welcome back to the Bill Ford Tough 225. We're under caution number 1, and that is because on lap 45, after leading 9 laps, Jack Sprague hits the turn 2 wall. Ray?
Well, Rick, just an absolutely dominant truck for Jack Sprague tonight. You were flying, man. I'll tell you what, that was fun watching you get to the front, but how in the world does this kind of stuff keep happening?
I told you what I thought.
We can't say that on TV.
I'm a crap magnet, but I don't know. I mean, damn. Chevy truck Silverado was awesome. I knew it yesterday. I knew it today. We had the field covered by 3/10 and just, I don't know, lost the right front tire going in turn 1. Just all of a sudden went down, and That was it. But guys did a great job. I had a great truck and thought I had them covered tonight, but just not my year, I don't guess.
Can you get this truck fixed and go back out, or are you guys done?
No, it ripped the motor out of it. It hit pretty hard. I got ice cream headache, so I think we're done.
All right. Thank you, Jack.
Disappointing night for Jack Sprague. Had 3 DNFs already in 2005.
Had no warning. We heard from the onboard. He got back in the throttle in the center of 1 and 2, and then the tire went down. He made straight right for the outside wall.
Mike Skinner jumps back out in front of the field. Dennis Setzer now second. David Rudiman third. Terry Cook fourth. And Steve Park in the top 5.
Terry Cook jumps to the outside of David Rudiman. Look at Steve Park go on the inside.
3 wide again. Steve Park on the inside. Bill Lester drops back. It's David Rudiman on the outside. And that's just about to third.
Great racing all over this racetrack. Such a wide racing group, and that's what drivers like, being able to run on the bottom, the middle, maybe even the top of the racetrack, and they're doing it.
The drop of the green flag, we've seen 3 wide racing.
Whoa,
problem smoking coming out. That's the 04 of Bobby Hamilton. Oh, and some hard contact there. Chase Montgomery also involved in this.
Brendan Gaughan was involved, and I think Boris, the 14, was involved. A lot of damage to the 18 truck of Chase Montgomery. That's Brendan Gaughan, the yellow truck, against the outside wall. You see Bobby Hamilton on the inside of your racetrack with his truck backwards. Our runner-up right now in the point standings.
Unbelievable night for some of the stars of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Rick Crawford in qualifying wrecks his truck, is not able to get into it. Now Bobby Hamilton, who was second or is second in our point standings, he is in an accident and could be out of this race. This is Boris Said driving the 14. He has considerable damage to that truck.
Well, he sure does. What a horrible break. They were just trying to survive this race and get and work on this truck, make it better. See if we can take a look at what happens. So you see Boris.
It looks as though Boris started headed right up the track.
Looks like maybe he had a right front tire or something going down, because he went to the corner instead of taking his normal line to the left. He went straight and made some contact with Bobby Hamilton. That's what started all this. And a lot of trucks got caught up in it. The 18, here we take another look at it. Watch the 14 truck. He just goes straight, makes some contact with Bobby Hamilton. They're sliding sideways. When they come down off the banking, that's when Boris makes some contact with the 18, and 18 goes back up the racetrack and hits the 77 of Brendan Gaughan. There's Chad Chaffin, the 60 truck, turning around.
Also involved in this one. And we see a lot of damage to that 04. You see him sliding sideways right there.
Another Chase Montgomery does a great job trying to avoid it, but unfortunately Boris comes down the racetrack, makes some contact. That sends him back up the racetrack into the 77 of Brendan Gaughan.
Well, Boris Said right now might be saying, I wish I would have stayed up in the booth. Well, while they clean up the second caution of the night, we'll cut away for a commercial break and be back with the story of caution 2.
Everything else.
Welcome back to the Built Ford Tough 225 on Speed Channel from Kentucky Speedway. The 14 of Boris Said, the 04 of Bobby Hamilton, the 77 of Brendan Gaughan, and the 18 of Chase Montgomery, all involved in this accident, which has brought out our second caution of the night.
Red flag is out. Let's see if we can take a look at what happened. We saw some sparks from the right front corner of the 14 truck. He went straight when he got down in that corner instead of taking his normal arc into the corner. That made contact with Bobby Hamilton. And then they came down off the racetrack, made some contact with Chase Montgomery, turned him around back up the racetrack, and he ran into Brendan Gaughan. There's another look. That's after the initial contact. But watch Boris as he comes down the racetrack. He's going to hit the 18 of Chase Montgomery, turn him up the racetrack into the 77 of Brendan Gaughan. Brendan had just about stopped trying to avoid this accident. And all of a sudden, here comes the 18 truck coming from the bottom of the racetrack. Watch real close to the right front of that 14 truck. See the sparks right in that area right there. That's the 14 truck in the middle. You saw the sparks. I think he either had a tire going down when he got down to that corner, or maybe a loose wheel, something like that. More than likely, a soft tire on the right front, and it did not allow him to turn his truck when he got down to turn 1, and that's what led him to clip the left rear corner of Bobby Hamilton.
And because of all the cleaning that is taking place right now on the track, the red flag has come out. Again, Bobby Hamilton, Boris Said, Chase Montgomery, Chad Chaffin also involved, as well as the 75 of David Starr and the 77 of Brendan Gaughan, involved in our second incident on the track that has brought out the red flag at the Kentucky Speedway. We'll be back with more after this. Welcome back to the Built Ford Tough 225. We're under red flag conditions. And as we celebrate the 10th anniversary of the Truck Series, we present the toughest NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series moments, made possible by Craftsman, the official tools of NASCAR. Moment 13 is pure teamwork. 3 manufacturers have been able to grab the Manufacturers Championship in the 10-year existence of the Truck Series. Chevrolet was the first to garner the hardware in 1995. Chevy held on to that trophy until 1999, when Ford was able to unseat Chevy behind the strong performance of Greg Biffle. Ford kept the trophy in 2000 when Biffle was able to capture the series championship as well, and then Dodge took over the top spot with the help of Ultra Motorsports in 2001. Although it wasn't until last year that a Dodge driver was able to win the series championship. Red flag conditions continue at Kentucky Speedway. A few different trucks involved in this incident, which was sparked by the number 14 of Boris Said getting into the 4 of Bobby Hamilton.
Boris drives on to turn number 1. Looks like he has a soft right front tire. He doesn't turn his truck like normal. He makes some contact with the left rear corner of Bobby Hamilton. As they come down the racetrack, Boris makes contact with the 18 truck of Chase Montgomery, and that turns him back up the racetrack into the 77 of Brendan Gaughan. A lot of damage to the 18 truck of Chase Montgomery.
And so we saw early on that the 14 of Boris Said was filling in for Rick Crawford, who was not able to run this race because of an accident in qualifying. Boris Said started this incident, but we don't know if it was a cut tire or what. Maybe we can find out from Wendy. I think she's caught up with Boris.
Thanks, Rick. What a whirlwind the last 2 hours have been for Boris. First, he was in the TV booth with you guys during our rehearsal. He rushed down here, jumped into Rick Crawford's driver's suit, and the night is going to end a little short. What happened with the 14 truck?
I don't really know. I mean, the Circle Bar truck seemed okay. And I want to thank Tom Mitchell, first of all, but I don't know if something broke or it just snapped loose. I'm not really sure. I was just kind of, biding my time, not taking any chances, and it just stopped, spun sideways. So I don't really know what happened. I need to look at the tape. Hopefully, if the guys let me back up in the booth, I'll get to look at it.
Well, fortunately, the fans at home are just looking at it now. You can look at it. Are you going to come back up to the booth and join us for the rest of the broadcast?
I hope so. I'm late, though. I wonder if he'll dock me. I got to punch in quick.
All right, maybe Speed Channel will take care of it. Hey, folks, he's already in his Speed Channel shirt, and he's going to he has to go to the infield care center first, and then he'll be up in the booth with you guys.
Is this considered moonlighting, Phil?
Well, I told him before the race started that we weren't going to pay him because he wasn't doing TV, but I guess we're going to have to if he comes up in the booth. But again, Boris said he thought the truck jerked sideways, but it looked like we saw some sparks from the right front of that truck. It looked like it went straight, but it may have wiggled. We didn't have a very tight shot of it. It may have wiggled, and that's why he had to use some more racetrack, and that's why he went straight getting down in that corner.
And it looked as though the initial contact with Bobby Hamilton was somewhat minor, and so both of those trucks were just sliding down the track, but then they got into the 60 of Chad Chaffin, and major damage then done to the 04. Great crowd on hand in Kentucky again as the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series enjoys their 6th race at the Kentucky Speedway. We'll be back with more racing after this.
All right.
Let's take a closer look at the Premier Division of NASCAR in our Nextel Cup update. Point standings as they get ready for Chicago.
Jimmy Johnson, Greg Biffle swapping the top spot. Greg had trouble at Daytona last week, got caught up in an accident, not of his making, but that brought some people back into this thing. At 400 points is the magic number. You got to be within 400 points, and obviously all the top 10 gets in, plus everyone within 400 points. There's a few more cars than that.
Tomorrow on Speed Channel, get an early start to your race day with NASCAR This Morning, live from the Windy City, Chicago. What's happening at the track, you'll know about it first, plus all the latest news and updates before the green flag drops. NASCAR This Morning, live tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific, only on Speed Channel.
There's one of the stars of that show right there. There's Jimmy Spencer. He's one of the two guys, two drivers. Kenny Wallace, Joe and John Roberts do such a terrific job on that show.
They have started the trucks back up again. We were under a red flag condition, but they've cleaned the track up, and now the trucks are moving again around the track. Let's take a look at why we have had 2 cautions so far today.
There's Jack Sprague, our leader. He already had got back into the throttle and cut a tire down or something broke on his truck, and he makes some pretty hard contact with the outside wall. What a horrible break for what everyone thought was the best truck here this weekend. Fastest truck in practice, and fast obviously early in the race.
Lap 52. Boris said driving for Rick Crawford in the 14. We believe cut a tire or had a tire go down, got into the 4 of Bobby Hamilton, and that started a 7 truck pileup. Brendan Gaughan involved in this, as well as the 18 of Chase Montgomery, and the 04, the 77, and the 18. All 3 of those drivers were checked out and released from the infield care center. Ray?
And Rick, I'm standing by with Brendan Gaughan, who has just come out. Boy, it looked to me like you almost had that thing cleared.
I thought we did. Billy Holbrook, my spotter, did a great job, and we had a good Jasper Engines Dodge tonight. I actually had a truck I think we could have got a top 5 with, and happened in front of me. I locked up the brakes. Don't know what happened. Just racing, whatever, and I got it stopped and missed the main guy's wreck, and I downshifted, got going, thinking I was the man, and then I looked over and saw poor Chase Montgomery, looked like another victim of it, and he just came up and tagged me, and everybody looks like they're all right. Poor Chase's little brother. His little guy was grabbing his big brother like he was hurt, didn't know what to think. But good Jasper Engines truck. We had about 100 Jasper associates here, and just got to root for Steve Park now. He's got a Jasper truck out there.
And you're okay, right?
Oh, yeah, we're fine. I'm too dumb to get hurt.
Okay, good. Let's go to Wendy.
Thanks, Ray. Bobby Hamilton was second in points coming into this race. Unfortunately, his night is going to be cut a little bit short. Now, when the race was red flagged, crew chief Danny Rollins had a meeting with his team, and they discussed every single thing they were going to do to this truck. When the red flag was lifted, NASCAR official Rich Bergdorf gave the thumbs up, and the 04 crew immediately went to work on what each person is meant to do. You can see there is extensive damage on the left side of this truck. No damage on the right side, surprisingly, of Bobby Hamilton's truck. Bobby Hamilton is in his hauler, and he has declined our interview. He's a little bit upset. As you can see, he is one of our championship contending teams. Rick?
Well, thank you, Wendy. And you mentioned the championship contending team. As we run right now, here are the points. Dennis Setzer will hold on to the top spot. Ted Musgrave will move ahead of Bobby Hamilton. And now you see the points begin to drop down considerably. Terry Cook moves into the top 5.
Yeah, Bobby Hamilton came into this race only 38 points behind, so you can see what a big difference just having trouble in one race does. But we've got a leader right there, Mike Skinner, driving the Toyota Tundra. Let's see if we can talk to him. Mike Skinner, Phil Parsons, can you hear me?
Go ahead, Phil.
Mike, that truck has looked like it's been bad fast since the very start. You had a great truck. Jack Sprague got by you, but unfortunately he had some trouble, and right now looking pretty good.
16 and 17, I think, was a little better late in the run, but we're pretty good. Jeff and those guys made some adjustments. We'll see what happens here, and hopefully we can make the right adjustments for the last stop.
You've been so close several times in the last 2 years to get that win. Now, we haven't obviously run this series full-time till last year, since 1997, or I'm sorry, 1996. You won a bunch of races in 95 and 96. I'm sure Ray Dunlap can tell us exactly how many days it's been since that last victory. When's it going to come?
I don't know. We've been pretty close here a few times this year. Got to go to work right now, though. Don't want to jinx myself. I couldn't hear everything you said, but I think I know what you were saying. Have a good one. Hopefully it's tonight.
You have a good one. Good luck. Have a good ride.
In the earlier interview with Brendan Gaughan, he made the comment that he's too dumb to get hurt. Well, with age comes wisdom. And so hopefully tomorrow, Brendan gets a little smarter, because tomorrow is actually his birthday. He turns 30. The
big 3-0.
The young Brendan Gaughan turning the big 3-0. Randy Kaiser pilots that truck out in front. That is the pace truck. He will make a hard left turn right now. And Mike Skinner will now lead the field with Dennis Setzer just behind him.
Dennis Setzer, by virtue of good pit work. What a great start Terry Cook has. He did the same thing on the last restart, got by a couple people. He's going to take over the second position from Dennis Setzer.
And as soon as the green flag is displayed, Terry Cook can do that. Now, he did not jump the start, and he can make a pass on the outside. If he would have gone to the inside, he would have been black flag.
As soon as the green flag is displayed, you're allowed to pass as long as you pass to the right. You're not allowed to pass to the left. Terry Cook did exactly what you're supposed to do, and it worked for him.
see the sparks flying. The tire pressure probably still a little bit trouble building up. Oh, and problems with Robert Huffman. Huffman gets down in the track. Oh, that's definitely dangerous when they come back down the track with all of the trucks behind him. So our third caution of the night has come out as we've just gotten to the 59th lap of this race. We'll clear up the problems with Robert Huffman when we come back to Kentucky Speedway.
I know what you're thinking. Ray's gone and bent a perfectly good screwdriver, right? Well, wrong. This is just one of Craftsman's brand new professional pry bars. Now, this 12-incher is very handy, and the race teams use them all the time. But they even needed a bigger one, so what? 17 inches. That's not the big one, though. Check out the 25-incher. This thing will get the job done for you wherever you're working. Now, the handle's really easy to hold, but here's what I really love. Check out the end. How many times have you taken a pry bar and beat it with a hammer and taken a complete handle and ruined it? Not anymore. This one is practically indestructible.
We're under our third caution of the night. Robert Huffman having problems. Take a look at how the caution came out.
Robert drives down in turn number 3. That's a very, very loose part of the racetrack. Looks like he might have got loose. He wiggled a little bit, then lost control of the back end of the truck, made some contact with the outside wall. Let's see if we can take another look at what maybe caused Robert's a big jam up right behind Robert. But when we see him, he's already up in the gray, and you don't get as much adhesion up there when you're not in the darker part of the racetrack. And around he went, made some contact with the outside wall.
Robert Huffman has the brakes locked up as he was trying to stay up next to the wall, but then filtered back down onto the track. That number 12 Toyota Tundra back on its way to the track, and well, as one truck was able to get back out onto the track, another one was not, and that was the 14 of Boris Said. Now, Boris, you're back up in the booth. This is the way the whole night started.
I know, this is a whirlwind tour. An hour and a half ago I was in the booth, and you know, unfortunately the 14 truck, I don't know what happened. I mean, I felt like a tire went down or something went down. It just snapped sideways, and I hated that for everyone at the Circle Bar truck, but it was pretty fun to go out there and have a little fun.
Let's see if we can show you, Boris, what happened. We've looked at it obviously a number of times. As you got down in turn number 1, we saw some sparks from the front of the truck, and it looked like the truck went straight, like your right front tire was off. Watch this. This is really after you've already made some contact with the 04 of Bobby Hamilton, and then as you guys come down the racetrack, you made some contact with the 18 of Chase Montgomery. But we've got another angle where, as you're going down in turn number 1, let's see if we can take a look at that. It looks like instead of taking your normal arc, it looks like the right front tire might have been soft on your truck. Watch this as we go down the corner.
Yeah, right there. Yep.
I saw the sparks from the front, like maybe you had a low tire.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. It felt like something just went amiss because it was tight all night, and then all of a sudden I go down there and it just snapped sideways. And I thought I caught the slide, and I got in the back of Bobby a little bit, and I hated for that. But you know, then the 18 truck got me on the inside. No, that's not a good look. I feel bad for poor Rick Crawford. He comes back from the hospital with a hangover, you know, big headache from a small concussion. That's why I leave his truck for him, but it's still better than the one he used up before. But I'm back in the booth and get a good view, and I mean, it's awesome. This NASCAR truck racing is a lot of fun.
Boris, I'm not sure if this has ever been done in the history of television and NASCAR, where a guy started out in the booth, then went down and got into the race, and now has come back up to call the remainder of that race. Now, are you going to get paid for both of these jobs?
I don't know. That's kind of my life story. I've never done anything quite the normal way. Everything's always a little bit different with me, but it sure was fun getting in the truck. It was a little tight, not quite big enough for me, but those guys did a great job, you know, making me feel comfortable in the 15 minutes they had when I got down there. So it all happened pretty quick, and I was just trying to buy my time. I didn't want to really wreck his truck. I'd rather just run around the back, just log some laps and have some fun, but unfortunately it looked like the right front did go down.
And that is 2 trucks now that they will have to force into the number 14 hauler, because Rick Crawford crashed the first truck in qualifying, and then the incident with you, Boris, on the second truck. And so 2 trucks with considerable damage for the 14. Ray.
Hey, Rick, saw Ricky Craven bring his Super Chips Ford down pit road here as we're just about to go back to green here. He came in on lap 61. You say, why would he do that? Well, they want to get out of sequence on the fuel cycle here. So our other pit stops happened at lap 46. Craven takes fuel only on 61.
That's not a bad strategy. That gives him 15 extra laps of fuel, and you never know in these races. We've had a rash of caution flags here lately, but we could get a green flag run, and it allows Ricky Crawford to stay out 15 laps longer than a lot of the other competitors, and it could catch him.
Yeah, if he's lucky, he might be able to do it on one more stop.
Green flag will fly. It's Mike Skinner out in front of Terry Cook. Another good start for Terry Cook as he looks to the outside as they work their way to turn number 1.
Is that 4 or 5 wide there?
At least 4 wide getting down in turn number 1. Look at Terry Cook go for the lead on the outside.
Side-by-side racing, and Terry Cook takes away the top spot from Mike Skinner.
I'm telling you, if I was Terry Cook, I would not allow them to bring any other truck to the racetrack besides this very one right here. This is the truck that he's had so much success with this year. Second at Charlotte, third at Dover, some other top 10 runs. This is the one he wants to race.
And that's actually the first lap that Terry Cook has led on the racing surface. He did actually cross the start-finish line on pit road earlier and led a lap, but that is lap number 2 that Terry Cook has led tonight. Third place, Dennis Setzer and David Rudeman trying to hold off Steve Park, and we've got another spin. Tracy Hines down the backstretch.
Looks like the 65 car too got into him.
Yeah, the 65 truck was definitely involved. That's driven by TJ Bell this weekend. See Tracy Hines get back going. There's the 65 making his way around the apron of the racetrack. I'm not sure if he has a great deal of damage. Saw him go through the infield grass, but I think he kept it straight.
Yeah, that truck looks pretty clean, better than the one I just got out of.
And so our 4th caution of the night has come out just over the 1/3 mark of this race. We'll be back for more. The Built Ford Tough 225 on Speed Channel. Welcome back to race 13 for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. It's the Built Ford Tough 225 on Speed Channel. A crazy night for the number 14 team and Rick Crawford. In qualifying, this was his first lap of qualifying. Rick Crawford gets a little bit loose, tries to correct it, and has problems and gets into the inside wall very hard. That sends Rick Crawford to the hospital to get checked out, and so they've got to find a driver. Well, there just happened to be a driver that was up in the booth with us named Boris Said. And well, Boris, you went down and offered your services. Obviously, you're about the size of Rick Crawford, and so you were able to get into the truck.
Yeah, I mean, it was it was a pretty exciting deal for me. It wasn't what I expected, but Tom Mitchell and Circle Bar offered me the chance, and I never say no to drive. So unfortunately, I didn't really like the end result, but I didn't even know where his garage was. Okay,
that's actually Ted Musgrave's garage you went in, Boris.
I didn't understand this whole DW track, the way those garages are set up.
Well, Boris, now this is an amazing thing. Has anything like this ever happened to you as a driver?
No, I mean, I've had a lot of strange things happen to me as a driver, but this is definitely up there in one of the top. I mean, it seems like my whole career I've never been normal. You know, stuff like this always happens.
You haven't had a chance to tuck your shirt in even. I mean, you went from driver's suit. Well, you went from Speed Channel shirt to driver's suit, now back to Speed Channel. Actually, did you take it off?
Yeah, I took it off,
okay,
and then
good.
I have a fresh coat of Kentucky dirt on my face, too, from the spin through the grass.
Well, we're under our 4th caution of the night, and it's cautions breeding cautions is the way they say in racing. This one came out on lap 65 when Tracy Hines and TJ Bell had a problem down the backstretch. And so with the caution flag away and the green flag out, Terry Cook leads the field to the green flag, and we're back to racing on Kentucky Speedway.
Terry Cook has been so good on the restarts. He's passed trucks just about every time, and Mike Skinner got a great restart that time. Terry Cook threw the block on him. He's going to maintain the lead. See Dennis Setzer, the 46 truck. He's in his 3rd right now. Got a great 3-4 wide battle. Look at Todd Bodine, the 30 truck on the inside.
Todd Bodine tucks in behind the 62 of Steve Park. Now Ron Hornaday into that mix as well.
What a great run early on for Steve Park. We mentioned that he got up into the top 10 prior to the first caution flag. Had great pit work. Came out in the top 5 in his maintained that top 5 position probably for the last 15 laps.
Well, it seems like they're 2 and 3 wide all night long. I mean, this Kentucky track is really, really good for racing, and especially at night. There's a lot of grip in the track.
Did you get up the racetrack, Boris? Was it pretty grippy up there?
It was grippy everywhere. It was amazing. It seemed like today when I was watching practice in the heat of the day, it looked a little slippery, but tonight there's definitely a lot of grip in the track.
That is a battle for third. Dennis Setzer in front of David Rudiman. Setzer holding on to the third spot. Mike Skinner now reeling in the 10 of Terry Cook. It looks as though the Toyota wants to take the top spot away from the Ford again.
And Terry Cook was able to get by Mike Skinner a couple restarts ago. Mike Skinner is able to stay right with him. You heard how little Terry Cook is out of the throttle around this racetrack.
A lot of grip in the tires, Boris.
A lot of grip. I mean, the tires were really good. Those 45 or 50 laps I ran never went away. And it's just amazing how good the trucks handle here.
We've seen track records. You've run the Nextel Cup cars this year. We've seen track records for these trucks just about everywhere we've gone because they're running the same softer tires this year that the Nextel Cup cars are, and they haven't had a spoiler reduction like the Nextel Cup cars have.
Yeah, they feel like they have a lot of downforce, but they also feel a lot different in the motor department with the smaller 390 carburetor. It almost feels like a restrictor plate, Nextel Cup car. So it requires a lot of momentum. You can't really get out of the gas on a track like this. And the guys are barely lifting now. Todd Bodine, he's been on a tear the last few weeks. He switches teams, wins a race, and now he looks in contention tonight, too. He's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he was able to get by the 62 of Steve Park, although Steve fights back on the inside, had a great run off that corner. He's going to pull side by side with him, see if he can beat him down into turn number 3.
Side-by-side racing. Steve Park on the inside. He hasn't cleared him yet. Oh, man, that was very close.
You want to give and take here. This is too early in the race to take any chances. You want to make sure you give some guys some room. You see Brandon Witt. He's having a great run. He's being shown in the 7th position in the 38 black truck.
Yeah, Brandon Witt wants to make a 3 wide. And Steve Park, you got to admit, he came from 25th place on the grid, so he's running really strong. It's just about halfway now, and he's getting toward the front.
That's a lap truck of Timothy Peters right there. He's being shown 1 lap down in the 24th position, the Ford truck.
As our leader, Terry Cook, comes across the start-finish line. We're on lap 75 of 150, which is halfway of this race and officially halfway of the 2005 season for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
This is race number 13 of 25, so we are exactly halfway right now. See Ted Musgrave work around the lap truck. Ted Musgrave right now is being shown in the 16th position.
Boris, when you were out on the track, was Rick Crawford talking to you at all about different lines or how the truck was running earlier?
No, I didn't talk to Rick at all until after I got out of the truck, and he looked great. I mean, he was in the trailer, and the good news is he seems fine, and he'll be back in a couple weeks at Memphis strong.
That 14 truck was very strong in practice. We were expecting it to be a battle between the 14 of Rick Crawford and the 16 of Jack Sprague, and both of those trucks are in the garage right now.
That's the thing about this truck racing. You never know who's going to win to the last lap of the race. I mean, these guys are like a pack of hungry dogs. And even though they're a little spread out now, it doesn't seem like they're happy unless they're running 3 and 4 wide.
Side-by-side racing. That's Tracy Hines on the inside of Bill Lester. Now, Bill Lester was our pole sitter. He is currently 4 laps down. Actually, just 3 laps down. He was able to cross the start-finish line just behind the leader there. Eric Norris trying to hold on to the 07. He gets sideways but straightens it back out, and it looks as though a caution will come out again.
He made some contact with the outside wall, but Eric did a terrific job saving that truck. He made just a slight bit of contact, but that thing really could have turned around and caused a big deal.
Yeah, he did a good job with that. It looks like the right rear's down. There were some sparks or a little flame under the truck I saw.
Well, the 2 busiest men at Kentucky Speedway are Boris Said and the flagged man.
Saw some sparks on the inside. You see the smoke there. You're exactly right. Looked like the right rear tire went down. Undoubtedly, he ran over something. Almost caught it, but the safer barrier caught just a little bit of the right rear corner of that truck. Pavestone.com, the sponsor. You see that very, very minimal damage for as bad as that could have been.
Yeah, it looked just like a slow leak in the right rear. Not too much damage.
Caution's the big story tonight. It's Built Ford Tough 225 presented by Greater Cincinnati Ford dealers. The 1.5-mile track has claimed quite a few trucks so far. We'll see how many are running at the finish. Welcome back to Kentucky. The work has been completed on the 04, and Bobby Hamilton will make his way back out onto this 1.5-mile super speedway.
We've got our leader, Terry Cook. Let's see if we can chat with him and see what he's got going on. Terry Cook, Phil Parsons, can you hear me?
Gotcha, Phil, go ahead.
Looks like that same truck that you debuted at Charlotte is running just like it did there. You guys got a great truck. You and Mike Skinner have had a heck of a battle. Can you hold them off?
We can, Phil. The Ford Power Stroke Diesel by International truck is pretty stout. Like you said, the same truck we've been running so good with this year. You know, the Gates Rouse engine to Parsons can be a great engine. Rick Gave and the entire crew made some great calls all day. So, built Ford Tough 225. It's time to get her done.
Terry, I told these guys up here in the booth that if I was you, I'd tell Rick, do not bring back any other truck besides this one the rest of the year.
That's a big 10-4. You've been wanting to put a new body on this thing before we go to Nashville. I'm going to try and take it. Like you said, I'm taking it home after the race, put it in my garage, we'll take it to Memphis.
I don't blame you. We're looking at you from your onboard. Give us a wave out the right side. Go get him, Terry.
Guy.
Terry Cook has been searching for that next win. It's been 51 starts since Terry Cook has found his way to victory lane.
It's hard to believe Mike Skinner hasn't won a race in 50 races, because it seems like every time I turn the TV on, he's definitely always at the front or in a position to win. He's due.
He's been so close this year. He's had some great runs, but not quite been able to put it all together and end up in victory lane.
We're on Speed Channel, Formula One British Grand Prix. Team Renault and Fernando Alonso back atop the podium in France, but McLaren is close behind and hungry to grab a win. Formula One British Grand Prix live tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. only on Speed Channel.
Are they all going to race this time, or just the 6? Was that bad?
I think that's a tire issue.
No, I mean, that was terrible for the fans at Indy, but I'm a big Formula One fan. I like turning it on and watching it. They're unbelievable cars just to hear them. They sound just crazy. You just don't race like these trucks, though. These guys beat and bang. It's more fun to watch these.
They don't do a whole lot of 3 and 4 wide racing either over there, do they?
No, they don't do a whole lot of racing, but it's pretty amazing to see one of those things go down the straightaway and break.
Not a lot of braking going on this track, Boris. Were you on the brake as much or at all?
I actually never touched the brake. On these trucks here, I mean, there's a lot of aero drag. You just lift off the gas a little bit and get right back into the throttle.
The cabs of these trucks are about 8 inches higher than a Nextel Cup car. So when you, as you mentioned, when you let off the gas, it's like almost throwing a parachute out compared to what it would be in a Nextel Cup car or a Busch car.
Right. Even when I used to race the trucks, you know, back in 98, 97, you know, with the open carburetors on them, they had a lot of horsepower, but you felt that drag where they would just, you know, kind of max out at 180, where the Nextel Cup cars keep accelerating. Just unbelievable how good the motors are now.
And these trucks run about 180 miles an hour at this racetrack at the end of the straightaway, and about 160 or something in the corner. So they're getting it done around here.
Yeah, it's amazing how fast they are. I mean, just watching the speeds in qualifying was really impressive. I mean, I don't know how many trucks beat last year's track record, but a lot of them.
Terry Cook again out in front in the Power Stroke Diesel by International. I just mentioned that it had been 51 starts since Terry Cook had found victory lane. It's actually been 70 starts since Terry Cook has found victory lane, and this being 71, so on his 71st start since his last win, he might find victory lane tonight because he's currently leading the field.
He's got a great truck, but Mike Skinner does too. He's been able to stay right on the tailgate of Terry Cook here right after Terry Cook was able to get by him on a restart. Mike Skinner actually had a pretty good run on the next restart. Terry was able to throw the block, keep him behind him.
Those two had been the highest number of starts since their last victory, and so Terry Cook and Mike Skinner in perfect position to eliminate those high numbers. from Sparta, Kentucky and the Kentucky Speedway. It's the Built Ford Tough 225 on Speed Channel. We're under caution number 5. This last caution coming out as Eric Norris had problems negotiating around the track, got into the wall, and actually they took that 07 behind the wall, so it looks like terminal damage for the 07 of Eric Norris, and that is why we have been under this caution condition for the past few laps. Terry Cook out in front of the field. Terry Cook has led 21 laps of this race. Mike Skinner has led 50 so far. So Mike Skinner leading the most laps to this point, but we've only completed 83 of the 150.
We're getting a report that Terry wants to talk to us some more. Let me try Terry. Hey Terry, this is Phil Parsons. Can you hear me?
Phil, I got you.
You got something you want to say to us up here?
I just wanted to say hi to Rick Crawford. I forgot to say hi to him earlier. I know he had to go to the hospital for a CAT scan. I just want to tell him that all of us in the truck garage here are thinking about him, all of his fellow Ford teammates, and we plan on seeing him back at Memphis.
Well, Terry, it was great to see some of your crew and some of Roush's crew help Cowboy, his crew chief, and all the Circle Bar guys get that backup truck ready. And we actually have his backup driver, Boris Said, up here with us in the booth because, unfortunately, you probably saw the damage for the 14 truck when Boris was caught up in an accident. And good to let you know that Rick Crawford was on the pit box there watching this race, and Boris saw him in the trailer, and looks like he's just fine.
Well, that's a great welcome surprise because last we heard he was still in the hospital, so glad to see you hear that.
All right, have a good one.
Brad Keselowski having some work done. Ray?
Hey guys, check this out. Brad Keselowski comes to pit road. They're going to pack this thing full of fuel, and believe it or not, they're going to try to go the distance here without stopping again. So again, a fuel strategy here. Now that's an awful long way to try to go, but boy, look how many caution laps we've had tonight. Might be an interesting bit of strategy here as he is going to try to go the distance. Wendy?
Hey, Ray, I just want to add what you were just saying about Keselowski. Our leaders are actually discussing the same thing, talking to Jeff Hensley on the pit box, and he said, well, we could make it on gas with all these cautions, but the problem is we think we're going to need tires. So the leaders are actually talking the same strategy here on this end of pit road.
I think they need a wing and a prayer to make it that long. I mean, we thought ours was about 45 to 50 laps, so that's a long way to go.
Yeah, I was hearing in the garage area anywhere from 55 to 63 or 4 laps. We're talking about 66 laps for Brad Keselowski. It could happen, but we've got another battle for the lead.
Mike Skinner got it on the inside. Great restart. It looks like Terry's going to fight back on the outside. He's got a lot of momentum.
That outside groove has been really, really good tonight. Terry Cook has made it work. Jack Sprague passed a lot of trucks on the outside. Here's David Arudem. He's taken over the 3rd position from Dennis Setzer. Dennis restarted this race in 3rd. David Arudem now has it.
Looked like he used a lap car as a pick and got under and caught Dennis off guard.
3 wide racing, Todd Bodine. That's a battle for position with Dennis Setzer. That's the 30 truck. That's Todd right there. He looks at Dennis Setzer. Dennis is 4th, Todd 5th. Steve Park is in a battle with Dennis Setzer on the outside. Well, now Steve Park is pulling behind Todd Bodine. Steve in the 6th position.
Terry Cook leading the Blue Oval. Let's start that over. Terry Cook is leading the Blue Oval gang around this field. The second Ford in the lineup is currently Todd Cleaver, who was in 8th position. And so the Fords have not found victory lane in 2005 and are desperately seeking a win this season. It's been 18 races since Ford has won a race. And so Toyota won just recently, and Ford wants to put their vehicle in victory lane, and they would love to do it here in Kentucky.
Had a great run last week with Todd Cleaver. He finished in the 2nd position to the Toyota of Todd Bodine. Todd qualified for this race on the front row. He's being shown in the 8th position right now, so he's certainly not out of it.
There's Todd Cleaver in the 50, just behind the 88 of Matt Crafton.
We mentioned a moment ago, Todd Cleaver in the 8th position. Matt Crafton having a great run. He's in the 7th position. Matt finished 4th here last year when he was driving the 6th truck for Kevin Harvick, the one that Ron Hornaday is now driving.
Matt Crafton has come on as of late. His best finish in 2005 is 5th at Texas. So somewhat similar track, 1.5 miles.
Now Cleaver's getting a run on the inside. I think he's going to make it stick.
That's Brandon Witt. He's having a great run. He's being shown in the 9th position. Seems like he's been in the top 10 this entire race. It would be his best career finish. Looked like the 50 truck of Todd Cleaver wiggled a little bit there. They lost a little bit of momentum and ended up losing the position to Brandon Witt.
Looked like he got just a little loose on the inside. Now Ted Musgrave's going to come up from the back and try to take advantage too.
There's Johnny Benson. He's having another good run. No stranger to the top 10. We talked at the very beginning of the show how he had 8 top 10 finishes and 13 starts last year, ran about half the season, and this year they haven't had the success that they would have liked. Only had 3 top 10 finishes, but he's got a pretty good run going here.
Probably our biggest surprise at the halfway point is where Johnny Benson is in the points right now. We were expecting him to be solidly in the top 10, maybe contesting for the championship this year.
Johnny came into this race in the 15th position. He's over 300 points, almost actually closer to 400 points out of the lead.
Mike Skinner looked.
But Terry Cook really likes that high line. He's making it work tonight too.
We continue to see the sparks off the right front of the 5 of Mike Skinner when he gets into the corner. It looks like it's rotating over onto that right front.
These teams run such soft springs in the front of these trucks. We've talked about it for a number of weeks. They run maybe a 600 or a 550-pound spring in the right front. And that's why these trucks will roll over quite a bit. And they have real tall springs in the rear to make sure that the front air dams stay sealed on the racetrack. They want to keep all the front downforce they can on these trucks. That's why they get them so soft in the front.
With just 57 laps to go, we've been under green flag conditions for a pretty good while now. So we've had a lot of cautions going on. Let's drop back through our top 10. We'll start with Ray.
Well, thank you, Rick. Phil has been talking about that truck that Terry Cook has here tonight. Of course, it's chassis number 08, and it's had 4 top 10s this year, a best finish of 2nd at Charlotte. Terry Cook says this truck is great now that they've made that first chassis adjustment. Now, they do expect to make some more chassis adjustments on the next pit stop. How about the Skinner? Here they go. Good race for the lead, Wendy.
As Skinner works around Terry Cook, this is the same exact truck that he raced at Lowe's Motor Speedway, where he also led the most amount of laps that night. Oh, Skinner's getting a little squirrely now as he's trying to get around Cook. This is the same truck he ran at Lowe's where he led the most laps, so it is a good truck for Skinner. Now going back to the 3rd of David Rudeman. I spoke to his crew chief, Jason Overstreet, and he told me they are much better on race runs, and they did not want to see these cautions, so they're much better on the green flag runs. And he also admitted that they arrived in Kentucky with an awful setup. Jason Overstreet admitted he had a bad setup in the 17 truck when they arrived in Kentucky. They worked on it all day long, and they definitely have it dialed in now. The 30 of Todd Bodine has moved into the 4th spot. Now, he has been loose all night long, and he's coming off his win, the first win of his season in Kansas, of course. A little bit of wedge and a track bar adjustment on the 30 of Todd Bodine. Ray?
And Wendy, you see Todd Bodine was able to get by Dennis Setzer. The reason is Setzer's just a little bit tight. He's going to make a chassis adjustment on the next pit stop to try to loosen up that Chevy Silverado. Now the 62 of Steve Park has just the opposite situation. Park running back in 6th position, and he is a little bit loose coming off the corner on 2 and turns 4. Park just a little bit loose. Wendy?
Brandon Witt is going for his career best finish tonight as he runs in the 7th spot. His prior career best finish was last year in Martinsville, where he finished 12th. Now, he's been loose all day, Brandon Witt has. So Jamie Jones has adjusted that truck. I spoke to Jamie, and he told me that they're looking to pit around lap 116, so possibly about 20 more laps for Brandon Witt to be on pit road.
Today at the Ford Hospitality, I asked Todd Cleaver, what will you be driving next year? Will you be driving the 50 truck? He said, I'm not sure yet. A lot of it hinges on what Carl Edwards is going to do in the NASCAR Busch Series. We know that Mark Martin is coming to race next year for Roush Racing, and they'll also have a young driver come along. So there's a chance that the 50 truck will not be driven by Cleaver. He may be going to Busch Racing. Wendy?
Well, we would hate to lose Cleaver in that, but I did want to tell you about Matt Crafton, who sits 9th right now. He's had top 10s the last 2 years at this track in Kentucky, so he's headed for another top 10 tonight. Now, they were a little bit behind this weekend because in the first practice, which actually took place last night, they had coil-bound tested a spring in practice, so they were a little bit behind, but Matt Crafton still sits 10th in points and having a great run here in Kentucky. Now Ted Musgrave rounds out our top 10. He's actually been down pit road twice tonight. He came in with the rest of the front runners earlier, but then he also came in about 20 laps later. He was super loose, and they went down on the track bar to tighten him up. That rounds out our top 10.
Thank you, Ray and Wendy. While we were looking at 7th and 8th, we saw the 17 of David Rudiman making the pass on Mike Skinner. Mike Skinner has had a little bit of a rough ride here the past few laps.
Yeah, that was really precipitated by him getting so loose trying to battle Terry Cook for the lead. Watch him get sideways here. We saw this happen to Todd Bodine last week on the inside of Ron Hornaday. Same situation. He makes a save, but he kills his momentum. David Rudiman able to take advantage of that and drive by the 5 of Mike Skinner. Watch him on the inside. Watch him get loose.
What it really shows you on these trucks with these smaller carburetors, when you have to lift out of the gas, you lose a lot. It's costly. He lost 20 car lengths just by that one little lift off the gas.
Wendy?
You wonder what some of these drivers do with their time off. Well, Mike Skinner and his wife Angie were definitely busy this past week. They were doing charity work. They hosted the 11th annual Race Week Celebrity Golf Tournament in Daytona Beach, Florida. And the money they raised was over $100,000, and it went to the Victory Junction Gang Camp.
Three trucks in the top 3 right now, all looking for wins in the 05 season. David Rudiman looking for his first ever win. And Terry Cook and Mike Skinner on the top of it's been the longest time list since our last victory. So 3 drivers very hungry to find victory lane.
I'll tell you, David Rudiman's season turned around at Dover. He had a good, strong top 5 run at Dover. Then he's been in the top 10. The 4 of the last 5 races, and look, he takes a look at the inside of Terry Cook, not quite able to make the move right now, but that's one hungry driver right there, one driver that wants to get that first career win.
And just behind him, don't forget about Todd Bodine. He keeps clicking off the fastest laps of the race, the last 3 laps in a row, so he's catching up too.
Toyotas have shown us they can run sideways. Robert Huffman, is he going to be able to save it? Whoa. Huffman gets sideways, turned around. Let's see if he can keep it off the wall and out of trouble.
What a terrific job of driving by a lot of these fellas, and that happened right up front. Terry Cook got into the back of Robert Huffman, got him sideways, and every truck in the top 5 had to avoid him, Boris.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing, and what that's going to do now, it's going to let everybody come in and pit, and they'll be good to go to the end. You know, with 46 laps to go.
Yeah, Brad Keselowski's pit strategy is not going to work now because of this caution flag. We'll see all the leaders on pit road. Every truck in the field will be on pit road on this caution flag. Let's take a look at this. What an incredible job. You see Robert slide up. Terry Cook had committed to the outside. See David Rudiman going to try to make a move. Terry makes some contact with him. See the 12 of Robert Huffman get completely sideways. He goes right in between all 3 of those trucks.
His hands must have been working overtime on that steering wheel because he was really swapping.
Then the 30 of Todd Bodine goes by. Then Kelly Sutton. There's Dennis Sitzer gets by just on the inside. There's Todd Cleaver. Incredible job of driving.
And I know Darrell Waltrip's on vacation right now as his season with Fox just got over, but those were his 2 trucks that almost wiped each other out. Robert Huffman just in front of the 17 of David Rudiman.
Let's ride with Terry Cook here and see what Terry saw. We saw the 12 of Robert Huffman slide up in front of Terry Cook. Terry had committed to the outside. We see the 12 of Robert Huffman go right between Terry Cook and David Rudiman. Here come the leaders.
Wendy?
Curious to see if Mike Skinner makes any changes on his truck because he seemed to kind of go away a little bit at the end of that run.
The 5 of Mike Skinner is in along with David Rudiman, and all the front runners are in. It was perfect timing for these guys. Mike Skinner has been loose off and tight in. They're going up on the air pressure. The 17 of David Rudiman, 4 tires gas, no adjustments for David Rudiman. Ray?
Just up the track bar a little bit for the Power Stroke Diesel Ford. They went down 1 pound on the left rear, up a pound on the right rear for Terry Cook. And it looks like he will not get off pit road first.
What a horrible break for David Rudiman. We saw the NASCAR official wave at his crew that they had left a lug nut off the right front. Crewman had to come back around, put the lug nut on the right front. He ended up having a 24-second pit stop. He's gonna lose all his track position. What a horrible break for David Ruderman.
It could have been worse, though. I mean, if he would have had to go out and come back in again, then he would have been at the tail end of the longest line. So he got lucky they caught it anyway. He only lost 6 seconds.
Well, those 6 seconds were quite a few positions.
I think he's got a fast enough truck, though. He'll be able to get back up there.
Take a look here. Watch the right front. Watch that official right there. You see that official? She's going to watch. I think that's maybe Danny Rick. She's going to watch. Look at the right front. She's going to say, see her waving to say, hey,
right here.
You left a lug nut off the right front. You're going to have to come back over here and put it on. You see when they get done with the left side, the tire changer comes back over, puts a lug nut on the right front. But you see all the trucks driving by him, trucks that he was ahead of on the racetrack.
David Ruderman with a very strong truck. He has been out in front of this race. Jason Overstreet, his crew chief, obviously not happy about this. Ruderman was running in second just behind Terry Cook. Now he's being shown in 14th. Reason for the caution, look at the 12 right in front of his teammate. He makes no contact with any other drivers. Tune into Speed Channel on Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. to go beyond the wheel. That's behind the scenes in the NASCAR world, as Speed Channel gives you a look at behind the scenes, as well as the communications between crew chiefs and drivers and spotters, as well as the calls from the race. Beyond the Wheel on Speed Channel, Thursdays at 7:30 p.m.
The 29 of Brad Keselowski stayed on the racetrack, so he has the lead. We saw the fact earlier, we were told that he was going to try to make it the rest of the way. Obviously, everyone else can make it the rest of the way now, but great pit work by Mike Skinner. Jeff Hensley and his crew got Mike Skinner out first. Terry Cook came in as our leader, comes out in the third position, second off pit road.
Is Brad Keselowski a sitting duck right now? Because everyone behind him has fresher tires, but probably not that many more laps on him that Brad Keselowski has.
I think he's going to be knifing his way to the back shortly. I mean, these guys have been running some unbelievable lap times, but it was a gamble. You had to take that gamble, and if there wasn't another, yellow, who knows what would have happened.
We've completed 107 laps as they come across the start-finish line. That'll be 108. That means 42 laps to go.
Mike Skinner's not wasting any time, making it 3 wide and going for the lead.
Going to bring Terry Cook along with him. You see Brad Keselowski, the 29 truck on the very outside, way up in the gray. Going to end up losing a lot of positions. Keep that thing out of the wall, Brad. Side by side for the lead.
Terry Cook on the inside, Mike Skinner on the outside. Ford versus Toyota. Toyota got their first win of 2005 last week. Ford looking for their first win of 2005 this week.
We saw how loose Mike Skinner got on the inside of Terry Cook. It's just reversed now. Mike Skinner's got the outside line.
They remain side by side as they go through 1 and 2. Spark flying out from underneath the 10 of Terry Cook, and it looks as though he's able to keep it straight, and he will take over the top spot and hold on to that position.
Of course, he wanted to do that when his tires were as good as they were going to get. They were fresh tires. He knows that if these trucks will get loose on the inside, when the tires were fresh, he had as much grip as he's going to get. He wanted to make the pass then.
Yeah, and he was committed. I mean, he had the gas down. He didn't lift at all there, it looked like.
Terry Cook started this race in 9th position. He's moved up to take the point. Brad Keselowski falling off the pace. He started out in front, tried pit strategy, was going to go the distance. He stayed out when all of the other trucks came into pit.
By the time things shook out, he ended up the last truck on the lead lap right now in the 22nd position.
In 2 laps, so that was probably not the best call.
As they went across the start-finish line, Mike Skinner with the fastest lap, and Terry Cook the second fastest lap.
Well, that lap Mike Skinner ran was only about a couple tenths of a second off the fastest lap of the race that he set himself back on lap number 70 at a 30.645, about 2 tenths slower that lap. I would not be surprised to see some of these guys, maybe even all these guys, run their fastest laps of the night here in the next few laps, boys.
Especially right now, they have fresh tires. It's the coolest temperature it's been. The track's the fastest it's ever been, and they're hungry. There's only 38 laps to go, so they want to win.
I think a truck we should keep our eye on is the 50 of Todd Cleaver. That truck was very, very good in practice. He's been able to keep himself in contention, currently running in 6th. I think he's going to come on strong at the end.
He had a very, very good truck last week. It's the exact same truck he has here. Finished second last week at Kansas City. As we see Terry Cook open up about 4 truck lengths. There's the 17 of David Rudin. We documented his trouble on pit road. It relegated him to a 14th place position on this restart. He's already worked his way up into the top 10 right now, going for the 9th position over David Starr in the 75 Spears truck.
You also got to give a hand, too, to Todd Bodine, the other Todd. I mean, he's just lurking back there in third, and his truck is pretty fast. The lap times look really quick right now, and he was really coming at the end of that last run.
Todd Bodine, one of the hottest drivers right now in the Truck Series, just coming off his win in Kansas from a week ago.
There's Dennis Setzer right behind Todd Bodine. Remember, he won 2 races in a row at Michigan in this Ferry truck, and he looks to the inside trying to pass Todd Bodine for that 3rd position, and then he turned around and won the very next week at Milwaukee.
Winning ways between those 2 trucks. Past 3 races.
And Brandon Witt is hanging right in there with a top 5 run so far. If he can get this thing to the finish, he will shatter his career best of 12th, as Wendy mentioned earlier, last year at Martinsville.
Todd Bodine has 3 wins in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And those have come in 10 starts with Jermaine Arnold. So a good percentage running with that team. We'll see if he's got enough time to get out in front and catch Terry Cook when we come back. The Toyota Spotlight lets us take a closer look at where tonight's field of Toyota Tundras are currently running. Mike Skinner leading that charge.
Todd Bodine in 3rd. 4 Toyotas right now in the top 10, and we have to keep an eye on the 17 of David Rudin. He had such a good truck. He restarted this race in 14th after the last caution flag. He's already up into the 8th position, moving forward.
And he just set the fastest lap that last lap, too, and he's been doing it every lap the last 3 or 4 laps, so he's definitely on a charge. But it always comes down to that track position, and he sure doesn't have that right now. So he's got some good trucks to pass.
We've seen 3 of the trucks run their fastest laps since this last caution flag. We thought the racetrack was going to be ideal for some quick lap times. 3 of the top 10 have.
We haven't talked a lot about these veterans. Ron Hornaday on the inside of Ricky Craven. Right now, those 2 battling for position. 14th, Ricky Craven was holding it. Ron Hornaday able to cross the start-finish line just in front of him to take away that spot.
Remember, we heard earlier that the 99 of Ricky Craven had a little pit strategy. He was trying to get out of seat. He had about 15 or 20 laps extra fuel, but when the caution flag comes out, that just negates all of that. Right now, everyone's in exactly the same boat, with the exception of the 29 of Brent Keselowski. They all pitted back on lap number 105. They can all go to the end.
Just behind Ricky Craven, that's the 15 of Blake Feast making his first Truck Series start.
He's got a good run going in Billy Ballou's truck. I was talking to him last night, and he said it was really an adjustment to try to get used to these trucks because of the aero situation. But he said we gained on and gained on. They had another hour practice earlier, and Blake is really doing a great job battling Ricky Craven for top 15 running order right now.
Mike Skinner that last time by at the fastest lap. And so he is trying to reel in Terry Cook. Take back the top spot. It's been quite a few days since Mike Skinner was able to visit Victory Lane back in 1996. So a long time since he dominated this series, winning 8 races his first year and 8 races his second year.
There's David Rudin. I mean, he's knocked down another one. He got by this one of Ted Musgrave. He's currently up in the 7th position right now, but he's about 5.5 seconds behind our leader, Terry Cook, and we don't have that many more laps to go. So David Rudin has got a good truck, but he really needs a caution flag, Boris.
Yeah, he's probably praying for a caution. He's probably calling in saying there's debris in the track or oil in the track, anything he can do to get a caution, but his truck sure is running good.
Maybe he could use the excuse that I see something from the 14 truck on the track, Morris.
There might be some parts from the 14 truck still on the track, but yeah, thanks.
The last 3 races for David Rudin had a good, strong 3rd place finish last weekend at the Kansas Speedway. Deborah Renshaw's done a great job. She stayed on the lead lap. She's battling Robert Presley right now for the 18th position. She's getting better and better and better, getting more familiar with these trucks. She got a good qualifying effort tonight and has a great run going. Anytime you can finish on the lead lap in one of these truck races, you've done a great night's work.
Yeah, it's not easy to finish on the lead lap in any of these NASCAR divisions. Very competitive.
Terry Cook out in front in the number 10 truck. We're celebrating 10 years in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Enjoying our 3rd year on Speed Channel. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series on Speed Channel is brought to you in part by the Ford Family Plan. The Ford family to the American family. Welcome. And by Craftsman, celebrating 10 years tough of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Great battles going everywhere around this 1.5-mile track. Rudiment trying to take away another spot from, problems with Shiggy Hattori getting into the wall as Terry Cook got by him. Let's see if Shiggy can keep it straight and keep it going.
Look how much momentum Terry Cook lost there. Mike Skinner pulls up to him. Great battle right there. There's Dennis Setzer on the inside. That's a battle for 3rd. Ty Bodine on the outside. Dennis able to get by Ty Bodine and takes over the 3rd position. Let's look back and see what happened to Terry Cook. He was lapping the 9 truck of Shiggy Hattori. You see him go down underneath Shiggy. You see Shiggy comes down, really forces Terry down to the apron of the racetrack. Watch Terry get sideways. Looks like he makes a little bit of contact with the 9 of Shiggy Hattori, but he loses so much momentum. He had about a 2.5 lead. He lost almost that entire lead with the momentum he lost.
Yeah, actually, that last lap, he was 2.6 seconds ahead just checking out, and now he's down to about a 0.5 second. As long as he didn't hurt his truck, though, I mean, he was consistently setting the fastest lap every lap, and I'm sure Amy's at home jumping up and down right now, but he still looks pretty hot.
I'll tell you, that was a great save right there. That may have been a race-saving situation right there for Terry Cook.
A race-winning save.
Could be, exactly.
Terry Cook has now led the most laps, 64 laps led so far. Mike Skinner at 51, the 2nd most laps led.
He came right back and ran the fastest lap that next time.
By 0.4 of a second.
Ray, what's going on in the pits?
Well, Rick, I thought I'd give you guys a little trivia here. I was just wondering if Boris or Phil would happen to know when PPC Racing got their last win.
I would guess it's maybe Jason Keller or Scott Riggs.
It was Jason Keller, in fact, and we called the race, Phil. It was at Milwaukee in 2003, so it has been quite a while, but Greg Pollux, the owner of PPC Racing, actually has 32 winners' trophies in his collection, and they're thinking they're going to make it 33 tonight here. Terry Cook saying his truck is getting better the longer it runs, believe it or not, so that's bad news for the competition.
Then we have to make mention that that was a Busch race that Jason Keller won at Milwaukee in 2003. This is PPC's 2nd year in the Truck Series with Terry Cook and Power Stroke Diesel.
And how come Ray singled out you two? And I didn't get to answer that question. He asked Boris and Phil.
And I had no idea.
He probably thought you knew, so he didn't want you to spoil it.
I don't know about that. Terry Cook looking to find victory lane for Ford as well as himself. It's been a long time since Terry Cook has been in victory lane.
Let's take a look back at what happened a few moments ago. Watch Terry Cook. He comes off turn number 2. Remember what a close situation he had with a lap truck of Shiggy Hattori. He's going to split the 24 on the outside, the 31 on the inside, and drive her down at turn number 3.
He sure did get his rhythm back quick because he's back on the roll again, just pulling away. Back up to 1.2 seconds in the lead again.
Dennis Setzer now is closing in on Mike Skinner. Dennis is only about 7/8 of a second behind Mike Skinner, although Mike Skinner did run the fastest lap on the racetrack that time by about 0.04 of a second over Terry Cook.
And Reutemann just got in the top 5 now. He's on a charge. He's going.
Remember, he was about 5.5 seconds behind about, 10 laps ago. He's closed to within 4 seconds now, so if he can just have a little bit more time, he needs a caution to close him up, Boris, and he may have the best truck on the racetrack.
It looks like it. He needs a caution or about 50 more laps. Unfortunately, there's only 15. It looks like he's going to run out of time.
This time it's Dennis Setzer who's posted the fastest lap. Todd Bodine the 2nd fastest lap. And Terry Cook the 3rd fastest lap that time around.
Yeah, David Rudimann's lap was a little bit skewed by the fact that he was passing the 38 of Brandon Witt 4th position. That's what slowed him down a little bit because he has been one of the fastest trucks each and every lap around here when he's not in traffic.
And you can't discount the night that David Rudiman has had, even if he doesn't find victory lane. He has gone from being very, very close to leading this race and being out in front to a missing lug nut and dropping back to 14th and working his way back up into the top 5.
Rick, that just shows you what a team sport this is. You have to have the whole package. You have to have a great truck. You have to have a great engine. You have to have a great pit crew, and you have to get a little bit of luck and not make any mistakes. Unfortunately, they made a mistake on pit road, and it may end up costing him a shot at victory.
Yep, and Terry Cook has been awesome in traffic. To see him going through the lap traffic, he's unbelievable. He's not slowing down at all, just wiping right through him.
There's a battle for third continuing. That's Todd Bodine. We're taking a look out of his onboard, the Toyota onboard. That's Dennis Setzer right in front of him, the Chevrolet Silverado, the right truck. He's in the 3rd position, Todd in the 4th position. That's Mike Skinner, the 2nd position, right in front of these two.
So as Terry Cook tries to check out on the rest of the field, a great battle for 2nd through 5th.
Remember, we saw this earlier. Mike Skinner dominated the race at Charlotte. He faded a little bit at the very end of the race, ended up finishing in the 4th position, I think. And here he is. Dennis Setzer has caught him. Todd Bodine is gaining on him. Look at Dennis Setzer. Look at the outside of Mike Skinner. There's our leader, Terry Cook. He's about 2 seconds ahead of this terrific battle for the 2nd position as Dennis Setzer drives by on the outside for 2nd.
Setzer making his 180th Truck Series start tonight. Has 3 top 5 finishes in the 5 races that he's run here. So Setzer trying to add to that statistic tonight.
Todd Bodine starting to stalk Mike Skinner. It seems like he wants by, and he's working the high side.
That high groove really came into this racetrack. A lot of grip on the outside of this racetrack. Most of the drivers said they thought there was a few more bumps down there in 1 and 2, maybe even down low. If you move up the racetrack, Boris, does the track get a little bit smoother?
Yeah, it's definitely, there's a few bumps in the middle, right down low on 1 and 2, but everywhere else it's smooth as glass. So I think there is a little more grip on the high side.
Terry Cook, 71 starts since the last victory. His team has garnered 5 top 10 finishes in the last 6 races, so things have turned around for the Power Stroke Diesel by International number 10 Ford team.
We're inside of 10 laps to go. Terry still has over a 2-second lead on our 2nd place truck of Dennis Setzer. Got a great battle. There's Dennis Setzer in 2nd. Mike Skinner, the 5 Toyota, right behind him. In the 30 Allman Brothers van Toyota, Todd Bodine in the 4th position, right behind Mike Skinner.
5 previous races here, no one has won outside of the top 5 starting positions. Terry Cook started 9th tonight. Wendy?
Johnny Benson's night might be getting worse. He's running 11th right now, but he just came over the radio and said that the truck is vibrating so much he's not sure if it's going to make it to the end. So hopefully Johnny Benson can hold out another 20-odd laps. Now, he's had 2 DNFs in a row. Last week in Kansas, he had a broken hub, and they came in, fixed it, got back out to try and get some laps. But 2 bad finishes for Johnny Benson. They were doing everything they could to get back on track here in Kentucky.
There's a battle for 3rd. Todd Bodine on the inside of Mike Skinner. Mike moves way up the racetrack, gives Todd the bottom 2 grooves to see if Todd can pull it off.
But that momentum on the outside just keeps Mike going. Mike learned the hard way from Terry Cook, I think. Switched over.
2 Toyotas battling for position. That's for 3rd. Mike Skinner out in front of Todd Bodine.
What a great run through the center of the corner. Looked like Todd backed off a little bit early, got his truck turned, got back in the throttle, gained a tremendous amount of Mike Skinner as he was trying to overlap the lap truck of Kelly Sutton, drove right by him into the 3rd position.
Yeah, it looked like Mike had to get out of the gas just a tiny bit for Kelly, and that gave Todd the opening.
5 laps of racing to go. Terry Cook in front.
There's David Rudiman with the fastest lap, but unfortunately, he's still being shown about 4 seconds behind. He's not going to have time to do it. Terry Cook's in the wall.
Unbelievable. Our leader into the wall. This is the 2nd time tonight we've seen this. Jack Sprague did it earlier on lap 45. And now Terry Cook, as we wind down almost to the end of this race, gets into the wall, and he will be relegated to the back.
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
Unbelievable. Look at the crew. What can you say? What can you say about something like that? What a terrific run. Inside of 5 laps to go for a victory. And there's the damage on that Power Stroke diesel truck. What a horrible break.
It looked like he lost the right front. I haven't seen it yet, but it's not turning, that's for sure.
Unbelievable turn of events on this day in Kentucky.
When this happened, we knew that Dennis Setzer was our second place truck. Right now there's a discrepancy going on. I glanced up when we saw Terry Cook into the outside wall, and the 30 truck of Todd Bodine went by before the 46 of Dennis Setzer. NASCAR will have to go back and review their scoring loops on this racetrack to see when the caution flag came out, when the caution lights came on, and see who was leading, the 46 of Dennis Setzer or the 30 of Todd Bodine. That could mean the winner of this race, because whoever NASCAR says is leading will restart this race with just a couple laps to go.
Well,
it'll probably be one of those patented Truck Series green-white checkers, which are always exciting in the Truck Series. Seems like every time I turn the TV on, they're doing that. That's a shame. Look at the damage on that thing.
See Terry jump out of that truck. There he is. Got his Hans device still on. He looks like he's okay. He made some pretty hard contact with the outside wall. What a horrible break. He must have broke something or cut down a right front tire, Boris.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. Maybe a right front tire just by looking at the truck, but that's a shame. I mean, he shouldn't keep his head. He should hold his head high. I mean, he was unbelievable tonight.
As the trucks go by in front of us, the 46 of Dennis Setzer leads the pack. We don't know if that's official or not. Todd Bodine right now is back behind the 46. Here's a replay. You see him. Looks like everything is going just fine. Looks like he just had a slow leak. You could see the sparks before he got to the wall, Boris.
Yeah, it looked like it just started to push up in the middle. Then you saw the sparks by the tire going down.
Watch the trucks go by him now. We're going to see the 30 truck of Todd Bodine go by him first. So NASCAR will have to determine when that pass took place. There's the 30 of Todd Bodine. We knew Dennis Setzer was second at the time of the crash. There goes Dennis Setzer behind the 30. Pretty hard contact. We're hearing reports now that NASCAR is saying that the 46 Dennis Setzer was in fact leading at the time of the caution flag, so he will restart this race more than likely for a green-white checker from the front position.
Terry Cook was 7th in points coming into this race. Terry Cook led the most laps tonight, so he will get 10 bonus points and will finish this race in 26th position. Terry Cook not happy about this. Looking for a sure win.
2 minutes away from glory. 4 more laps he had. That's unbelievable.
Ray's caught up with Terry.
Is there any way to put words to that one?
No, there's really not. You know, the Ford Power Stroke Diesel International crew put an awesome truck together. I mean, it was so easy to drive. Probably about the last 5 or 6 laps before tire blew, it just started tightening up, and I thought the tire was going. I was trying to be easy, but yet I knew the 46 was coming, so guess we just come up a little short today.
Hey, they knew you were here tonight, that's for sure.
They sure did. Unfortunately, we go to the payoff line. They won't know we're here.
Great job tonight. Terry Cook with an outstanding job, but comes up short, just as you guys said. Hey, guys in the booth, I do need to let you know, though, about a little green-white checkered stat, though, because, believe it or not, we've had 4 of them this year, and 3 of those have come on mile-and-a-half tracks. You believe that?
I do, Ray. What's the number now? I believe near 53.
Tonight we will be going 52. Tonight is race 255. This will be the 53rd. We've had 52. This will be 53.
Thanks, Ray.
You got it.
Okay, we're going to watch here. We're on board with Todd Bodine. You see the 10 truck of Terry Cook into the outside wall. Let's see if we can see any caution lights. I'm not sure if that's a caution light. Way down there.
Right there, Phil.
Yeah,
there was one closer.
Yeah, one closer. See,
and he was by him when that yellow light came on.
Yeah, let's see if we can take another look at that. Now that we know where that caution light is, yeah, we'll take another look at that because we know where that caution light is right now. See, Terry Cook's into the outside. Well, you see Todd. There's Dennis Setzer right in front of him.
No, the light was on.
We're looking.
No. It's right there.
There's a light comes down. It looks like from this angle that the 30 truck of Todd Bodine had gotten by the 46, but we're getting ready to restart this race, and the 46 is up front.
But look at the 17. The 17's coming on the outside.
We saw the speed out of the 17 now. They may black flag him for jumping that start because he got onto the outside of 2 trucks.
You can pass to the right, though.
Yeah, but not before the green flag is displayed. If they deem that he jumped before the green flag was displayed, they will black flag him. But he was able to get by the 5 truck of Mike Skinner. He's only got 2 trucks in front of him, but he doesn't have a whole lot of time.
Dennis Setzer looking for his 3rd win of 2005 out in front of the field. Todd Bodine would love to go back-to-back, as Dennis Setzer had done earlier this year. He's sitting in 2nd.
White flag out. Last lap, we did not see the black flag for David Ruderman. Todd Bodine tries to look to the inside of Dennis Setzer.
And Todd's getting a run off the corner.
Got a little bit of a wiggle down there.
Is it enough?
Little bit loose for Todd Bodine. He's got 1 chance to go as they work their way into 3 and 4. It's Dennis Setzer just in front of Todd Bodine. Setzer goes a little high. Todd Bodine stays down low. The momentum is going to carry Dennis Setzer to the start-finish line, and he'll win the Built Ford Tough 225.
What a terrific job by Dennis Setzer and his bunch, but what a horrible break for Terry Cook. Inside of 5 laps to go for his first victory in 71 starts. And he cuts down a tire and makes contact with the outside wall. But Dennis Setzer wins number 3 of the year.
15th career win for Dennis Setzer and 3rd for the 2005 season.
Great runner-up finish for Todd Bodine. That's a 1st and a 2nd the last 2 weeks for Todd Bodine. And David Ruderman gets his 2nd consecutive 3rd place finish, which ties his career best. He's done it 4 times now.
And this all started when Terry Cook was out in front, got into the wall, and that meant that Dennis Setzer would take over the top spot when we restarted for our green-white checkered, and he found the checkered. Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series post-race show is presented by Craftsman. Celebration continuing for Dennis Setzer in that number 46 as he makes his way up to victory lane. Crowd beginning to file out the unofficial results. Scrolling on the top of the screen. Again, Todd Bodine coming home in 2nd. David Ruderman with a strong finish in 3rd. And now Dennis Setzer down in victory lane, standing by with Ray Dunlap.
Well, and he's got to take off some of the devices here. He just rolled his truck in here, so we'll give him just a second to get unbuckled. He takes off the buckles. I got to get the Hans device off and the helmet. He's working on it. Helmet comes off, Hans device off, and Dennis Setzer will climb out of his red Chevy Silverado. This is the same truck he used to win with earlier. Come on, Dennis, come on out. We're ready for you. Congratulations, boy. I'll tell you what, we didn't think you had the strongest truck tonight, but I guess it all matters who gets here, right?
Absolutely. You know, Terry Cook was really good there, but I'm proud of this Silverado team, this Morgan Dollar Motorsports guys. These guys made some awesome pit stops all night, really changed this truck around when it was time to go racing. We struggled a little bit all day, all night last night, couldn't get going, but man, these guys done a great job. RCR Motors, I applaud these guys, man. These guys have come so far right there and brought this team to a new level right there. So I don't know, everything's just going good. I don't know what could go wrong right now.
Not only just 3 wins now, but a great night in the points tonight as Bobby Hamilton had problems.
It was a good night for us, but that's what we got to do, you know, to keep that in mind later on. But we need to win a few more races and then maybe think about points racing, about 4 or 5 races to go. But so proud of this team, the job they've done. David Dollar's brought this team to a new level, and, you know, it's just a great team all around.
Congratulations, Dennis Setzer back in victory lane for the 3rd time in 2005.
So the crew giving high fives to their driver, Dennis Setzer, as he is able to claim his 3rd win in 2005. Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series post-race show is brought to you by Craftsman, celebrating 10 years tough of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.
Past the halfway point, Ford point standings, Dennis Setzer increasing his lead with his 3rd win of 2005.
Bobby Hamlin took a big hit in the points. Bobby's being shown in the 31st position. Drops to 153 behind our leader, Dennis Setzer.
Dennis Setzer not looking back on his way to the 2005 championship. Tonight's Mobil 1 move of the race is brought to you by the new Mobil 1 Extended Performance, official motor oil of NASCAR. And the move is Terry Cook moving into the garage, allowing the 46 Dennis Setzer to move to the point for the green-white checkered, and then he takes the checkers and celebrates at Kentucky Speedway. While Dennis Setzer enjoys the spoils of victory, Todd Bodine stands by Wendy Venturini.
Todd Bodine has been in the 30 truck three races, so 2 out of those 3 races he finishes 1-2. Todd, you look disappointed though because you didn't add a W to your stats.
Yeah, a little bit disappointed. I had a run on Dennis on the white flag lap off of 2, and the truck broke loose and had to fall back in line, but our Toyota Tundra was awesome. I mean, it was just a little too free all night, and that last run was a little more than the run before, but it was a great run. I got to thank our sponsors, Valvoline, Bosch, TRD, Windbreaker. I mean, it's great to be home. I mean, Germain Brothers, you guys are awesome. Bob, I wish you were here. He's stuck in Florida in the storm, but it was a good night, you know, second, can't complain.
All right, it looks like consistency is definitely the key for Todd Bodine and this 30 team now that they're back together.
We have had a crazy night in Kentucky, but everyone's going to have a little bit of a breath. They're going to be able to take a break for a while, 2 weeks until we get back to the Memphis Motorsports Park. So they got a weekend off, July 23rd, 8 p.m. right here on Speed Channel. The drama continues in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. It started at qualifying today when Rick Crawford has a problem. Gets in an accident in qualifying, not able to drive that 14. Boris Said, who was going to be our television partner to start the night off, goes down and drives the 14. Well, the 14 gets in an accident. Boris Said back up here in the booth for us. We really appreciate you joining us up in the booth to call the race.
I appreciate it. I had a good time, and can't wait tomorrow. I'm going to Indy to test my Centrix Financial car Monday and Tuesday, so I'm really looking forward to that too, and I'll see you back in Memphis.
That's correct. We'll see you in 2 weeks as well. A very eventful day, Phil.
It sure was. But you really have to hate it for somebody like Terry Cook. Inside of 5 laps to go for his first victory in 71 races. Unfortunately, cut down tire is going to end his night.
The 16 of Jack Sprague has problems. The 14 of Rick Crawford has problems. The 46 has no problems. He finds victory lane for the 3rd time in the 2005 season. We'll see you in 2 weeks.